Must say we look very smart. Looks like an episode of University Challenge tonight. Kaplan, Coventry University, reading communications.
Communication sounds like some Tom Noddy degree, like media studies.
It was. It was pre-media studies.
I got a 2-1 in media studies. What a waste of time that was. Look at this now, sat in.
Sat in a room, freezing.
Yeah.
Hello everybody, we're back. You can get in touch with the latest Forty20 Live on Twitter, at Forty20 Live on Twitter. Get in touch with the Facebook page as well, and you can get in touch with the comments on YouTube. Congratulations to the Bradford Bulls, won their first ever Yorkshire Cup.
No, they've won the 12th Yorkshire Cup apparently.
No, they've won their first ever Yorkshire Cup. Well done to them. Big crowd at Batley. Well done to Batley Sound. I've had a lot of friends said it was an absolutely belting old school rugby league game. They were getting stuck in. They were giving it to each other, and it was a belting game. Apparently, everyone that went to watch enjoyed it. So
because there was something at stake. So I don't think we've ever been against the principle of making things more, giving them more meaning. Getting more people to go. I think it's what you call it.
It is. We've got to start off. We have to start off with a well done to Ralph Rimmer and the RFL for a wonderful deal on, or what looks a wonderful deal on the Challenge Cup. New sponsor, Coral sponsoring that. So well done to them. A 7-figure deal. Amazing. The RFL have actually put a value on something. Even if the decimal point might be in the wrong place. I don't think it is, but it might be. But well done to them. 7-figure deal incorporates as well the women's final. It's going to be played on the same day as the men's semi-final, which I think is better than having it in some rubbish ground that looks like they're playing in the middle of a sports centre in the middle of nowhere. So well done to the RFL.
At a professional ground with 400 people in it to give the girls an experience. With 400 people.
Well done for all those that say I'm mourn. And today people have been saying I'm too pally with the RFL now. I can't win.
I think there's two things that we've learnt about this. One is the women's game, I think, is what appeals to a broadcaster and to a sponsor. So if you can tie the two in together, you've got more chance of actually bringing someone on board. And the other thing is we got a note saying, please put your £5.50 back in the pocket. It's not going to be called the 40-20 Live Cup, I'm afraid. It is now the Coral Challenge Cup.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Scoy, he's here. Scoy, you'll be delighted. The greatest cup competition of all now has someone that wants to love it.
Absolutely. And I say, why not? But, I guess the only question has been, why is it taking so long? But anyway, we've got there in the end, and plenty of money involved from there, so everybody will be very happy. Delighted that the Batley and Bradford got a great crowd from there. And as I've mentioned many times, now I've mentioned for the last few years, the Yorkshire Cup and the Lancashire Cups should be pre-season games. If there's a purpose in these fixtures, people will come out and watch. And they'll say, it was so well done to Batley and Bradford for putting on a show. Hopefully more teams will get involved for next year. But I think the big news for me this week, fellas, is to see the big man back on the field. After 10 months out, Alex Walmsley.
I thought you were talking about Nigel Wood.
Playing for
Bradford in the...
Oh, was he?
Well, I mean, you might think that's true, but the trade press doesn't think that was the main comeback this weekend.
Well, I'll tell you what, Big Alex coming back after that injury, which realistically could have ended his career, but also to change his life at a very young age, back on the rugby league field, what he loves. I think that's a great story for this week, for rugby league. And welcome back, Alex. And I say you'll be a great asset, not just to St Helens, but you are for the greatest game as well.
Actually, the story this week is neither of those. It's ball bags.
Ball bags?
Yes.
I hope this. Scottish listeners might be offended by that.
Hold on. Well, go on then. You have to explain yourself. What are you about now?
We were given a briefing before the Castleford Leeds Callum Watkins testimonial game by Steve Ganson and Steve Presley about the shot clock and how it's going to affect the game, various other things about interchanges, and now to facilitate 30 seconds to drop the ball out when the shot clock is on, you have to have ball bags behind each set of posts with 2 balls in each bag.
It's a good job.
Wow.
Do all the clubs have enough balls?
Well, this is one of the things that will have to be brought in. I think they're moving from the requisite number of balls that were previously needed, which I think was 8, to 12. But the home team will be responsible at all times for 2 balls being in the ball bag, so that even if the opposition are dropping out in an unfamiliar venue, they can go straight to the ball bag and not impeach upon the 30 seconds that they've got to drop the ball out.
Very good, very good. I like it.
Hashtag ball bags.
Ball bags, yeah. Well done. I'm pleased about that. It's nice as well to see you two looking a bit smarter than normal because Scully and I always look smart, as you know.
Never without
even
a
if
jacket.
Scully ain't got a shirt that fits him, but he tries to look smart, the lad. You two have been called scruffy.
Yeah. I mean,
well, actually, all four of us have been
Can
called
I
scruffy.
just clear up a tweet that's been sent out on our account? This programme, just in case people think it's sponsored by Colt, it's not. Just Toby and Mark don't get in trouble.
All right, okay.
Well, no, we're not there, but the joke's got this.
All right, okay.
Yeah, I've got my World Cup 95 tie on. Now, you remember the 95 World Cup? It was on the BBC and Wire TV. A channel
Don't
nobody
mention
remembers. Oh,
the
yeah.
95.
Potential Wales.
Why Scully were watching it, wasn't he?
Potential 47th
Tell you
cap.
what, I should have been selected playing the final. If I'd have been selected, would have won it.
There you go.
There you
One
go.
got sent off.
Lack of creativity.
Sadly, we'll never know.
Lack of
Sadly, we'll never
lack
know.
of creativity.
Yeah, so you've been called scruffy. What have you got to say for yourself, sure, right?
Oh, well, I was upset about that and being called negative.
Right, who's
Fine.
called you negative?
Phil Seymour off of
Alright.
TV's Wrestling.
Right. It has been noticed that you've had a change in attitude, Richard Shaw, right? And you are becoming a little bit more aggressive.
Well, why not? What's the
All
point?
right, don't
What's the-
start getting aggressive with me. I want to ask you a
What's the
question.
point? Everyone gets away with everything, so you might as well have an opinion.
Have you decided if you're going to go down, you're going to go down
Yeah.
shooting?
What I'm not going to do is on Thursday, when it's the season launch, do a stinging attack on the sport on national broadcaster, but got away with that as well, didn't they? So,
You all right?
yeah.
Do you want to cuddle? Do you want to hug it out? Or you all right?
Fine.
What we must say as well before we actually do start talking about rugby league is we had record numbers last week, didn't we, on our
Yes,
podcast?
yes,
which we are very proud of.
Imagine what they'll be when we dress smartly.
Exactly. I'm expecting quadruple numbers.
Yeah. And it's free as well.
Free
I think people
on
forget
iTunes.
that. I think people forget this programme's free. They don't have to pay for it.
Just imagine if you did pay for it, how disappointed you would be. Yeah, you would be, wouldn't you?
You'd be hitting that refund button.
You would be. Right, so well done to Bradford. They won yesterday. Really tight battle with Batley. A lot of my friends who are Bradford fans went. Said they thought half-time Batley were going to get the win. They didn't. Apparently, they were a bit of argy-bargy. They were getting stuck into each other, just what it should be like. Scully, the only issue we've had, not you necessarily yourself, you were a big advocate of bringing back the Yorkshire Cup, right? But what became apparent yesterday from some of the quotes coming out after the game is that Nigel Wood is being credited with the resurgence of the Yorkshire Cup. Now, Phil and I were told a month before it came out what was going to happen. As Nigel, I'll come to you in a minute, Scully. Phil, as Nigel Wood, has he still got more of an influence at the RFL than he should have?
I'm sure he's just a lover of the sport who, like us, comes up with constructive suggestions that hits the ears of the people of power, and yeah, probably.
Hey, Mark, also as well, haven't I been saying it for the last 4 or 5 years?
Well, you have. Well, I was going to come to that, Gary, because you did say this on this show several years ago. Bring it back.
Yep.
So have they got a now? Have they got a say to Leeds? Have they got a say to Waverley? I know we mentioned this last week, right? But what were they at Leeds yesterday? 6,000? Leeds played Cass. There were 3,000 watching Batley and Bradford.
Yeah.
So I think that we've got to expand this. I do think there's going to be an issue next year for Super League clubs getting friendlies if clubs are committed to the Yorkshire Cup.
I agree, and now the planning should be made, the success from it, and so the planning now should be made with the League One clubs and the Championship clubs. Say, listen, this is what we're going to do. If the big boys don't be part of it for next year, fair enough. But we're going to plan around it because it's purposeful.
On the big boys putting in their senior academy.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I think you invite Leeds, Cass,
and
Waverley.
they
You can play who you want.
correct.
You play who you want.
It doesn't devalue the competition if they decide not to put in all of their top ranks.
It's like the same as we know with the football, with that
the
Milk
League Cup,
League Cup, Milk Cup, whatever they call it. You know, so
Milk
it's all
Cup,
the
sorry.
same.
Was that 1986?
But anyway,
1986.
whatever.
He was looking up the results on
Whatever
CFAX.
it was, but what I'm saying is, you know, the Yorkshire Cup, and the same with the Lancashire Cup as well. The Yorkshire Cup had a sponsor. What was it K2? They're a battery company, and a company.
Yeah.
You know, so
And Esso used to do it when you played.
There'll be sponsors. There'll be sponsors out there, mate, and I say people will come and watch purposeful fixes. And if there's some silverware to be won at the end of it, go out and get it.
The only
go out and
concern
get it.
is if you invite Leeds, Featherstone might run out of players.
Or if they drew each other, they'd be swapping them at half time. But if you look at all the friendly fixtures that have been played from Boxing Day to now, a lot of them, if you branded them Yorkshire Cup, they are two Yorkshire teams playing each other anyway. So all you're doing is saying, it was Callum Watkins' testimony yesterday, but it was also a game in the Yorkshire Cup. So you're not actually, you don't actually have to change.
Yeah, from Boxing Day, you can have the Yorkshire Cup until the season starts.
It's in the paper today, if you extend it to 8 teams, it's going to cause lots of problems.
But if you have it in groups and these teams are playing each other anyway,
I don't think it is. I think if you'd have said to Leeds, and we mentioned it last week, Wakey played Hull, Cass have played Leeds, Leeds have played Wakey.
So put them in a group.
Well, you don't even think you have to do that. I think you just say, look, there's your game. If you want to make it a Yorkshire Cup game, make it a Yorkshire Cup game. Yeah. You imagine how many you've been at Headingley yesterday if that had been the Yorkshire Cup final.
But I think also you've got to structure your pre-season. You're not going to know whether you win that first game. Whereas if you have it in groups like they have done for
But this is the problem that I'm saying for Bradford next year. We've already seen one of their players rather controversially moaning about the number of games they've already had to play without realising it's his club's fault they've had to play that number of games. But they're moaning about it. But what they're going to find it hard to do next year is commit to friendlies when they're not going to know. Or are they going to commit to playing the Yorkshire Cup games and no friendlies?
But also as well, you keep mentioning they've got to structure the friendlies. I tell you what, when you look at Huddersfield, when you look at their structure, their friendlies, did you see that pathetic side they put out Workington? They said to
But they're playing Wakefield tomorrow.
But they said to Workington they were going to bring a decent first team up from then. Did you see that side? So what side are they going to put out tomorrow against Wakefield?
Presumably stronger too.
So you're talking about the structure of friendlies. These sides aren't even taking the friendlies even seriously. But they would do. There's a purpose in the fixtures.
There's another side to this. Why do pre-season games have to be your testimonial game?
Well, I guess that's for the money side of it, isn't it?
But what if we had a round of matches in the middle of the season? We've had at least 4 or 5 top players who've had testimonials at different clubs.
I feel that would work.
Why? Yeah. And they get a share of the gate?
Hold on. We've got clubs screaming they ain't got enough money. They're not going to say, we'll give away £15,000.
But they're giving away the equivalent. They wouldn't give all of it. They might give a share of it. No, I'm just saying, if you had a round whereby, Callum Watkins and...
Phil, have you been on the wine? It's a pathetic statement.
Why?
Testimonial games in the season.
No, they are the league games, but they are branded as a player's testimonial.
What's the point in that?
Because more people will go, the testimonial recipient will make more money.
How many people want the Boxing Day game for Leeds and Cass? 10,000, well it's 6,000.
But it frees up pre-season to do what you want to do with the Yorkshire Cup.
No. You're bonkers. Have you been on the wine today?
Interesting. A lot of people wanting to talk about Widdop. We will mention it.
I don't know what they want us to say.
Great signing. Great signing. It is a great signing.
Do you know what? It's the start of the end of the salary cap.
Well,
I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
Here's the thing from last week. Because obviously, we weren't invited to... I mean, I don't expect to be invited to speak to Robert Elson. I'm just some fellow with a laptop.
Don't worry, we'll be talking about Robert Elson later.
But
politician.
One of the things he said, I read... was, we're not going to chase the salary cap. But you can have, we'll think about having unlimited marquee players, which he's pretty much saying, just do whatever you want, lads.
And we know that the richest club in the game for going out and signing players is Warrington. So they've already bought Bray Austin for this year. Widdop's in for next year. Some of their other players, I think, are high value players, as they should be. They got to the 2 finals last year. I think there'll be a push from the clubs that can afford it to say, look, if you give us licence to go out and sign players, we can get Gareth Widdop a year early. And that's what this whole push to get personalities into the sport is all about. So I think Elston's saying, I've told everybody that we need to have personalities. That might mean that they go out and sign an England Rugby Union player, and perhaps, although they get dispensation on the salary cap, there's still a proportion of it. Perhaps we'll wipe that. This is the start of the end of the salary cap.
Why is the salary cap in place? Is it to stop clubs going bust, or is it to level the competition out?
I think a bit of both, mate, to be honest with you.
But it's clearly failed, though, in levelling the competition out.
It's a bit of both.
Well, it has, but then again, what the NFL, Patriots got to the Super League, to the Super Bowl again. It does happen. But I don't think you can, because Wigan have got rid of one of their marquee players. So if we say, right, it's open season, you'll go back to when Scully played, and one team will win everything because they'll buy all the best players.
Which is what's happening at the moment.
Is that what we want as a sport?
No, but what we want is the ability to market the sport with big name people.
So we're going to market the sport, but we're going to make it worse at the same time?
No, I'm not sure you will, because it'll be the same as it is. No, we haven't had a new name on the Super League trophy since 2004.
Also as well, then, Phil, right? Put it to this: we're talking about with the marquee signings, and certainly Warrington are looking to buy it, aren't they? There's no
but to be fair, Gary, we criticised them last year for the guy Roberts was a joke.
I agree.
They've gone out, they've got Austin, and now they're going out and getting Gareth Widdop.
Widdop will bring everything what they want: composure, smartness,
Good kicking,
and creativity. He'll bring all that game management. It's a great signing, don't worry about that. But also, too, from Warrington's point of view, will they get full houses? We got a Winnip signing for them. They don't even fill the stadium, do they? Will
They
fill the
might,
place?
because they've got a year to sell him in partnership with Blake Austin. So yeah, it's a fantastic move.
Oh,
by
yeah, it's a
Warrington.
great signing.
It's
There's no
what
doubt about
every
it.
club should be doing to look to bring in as many top line players as they can. And it comes back to the fact that we've got clubs within our competition that don't spend the salary cap. So you're already not starting from that level playing field that it was set out to achieve in the very
Yeah,
first
but one
place.
of them won it last year.
Yeah, and they might win it again. And the Patriots
So
clearly.
what does it matter?
So you may as well not have it. You've just argued against yourself. If it doesn't matter, you may as well not have it. Warrington made a mistake last year. They brought in a marquee player who clearly didn't do the job that they wanted them to do. So it doesn't necessarily mean just because you can sign who you want, you're going to be the best team. What we do know is that in the NFL, in the NRL, that where they have had a salary cap that everybody observes, yes, clubs like Melbourne get to the final more often than other clubs, but no team has retained the trophy in the Super League era. That's what we want to get to.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I'm interested, mate.
I think it's a brilliant signing. But
Oh,
I think
it is a great signing.
And I
Oh,
think
it
it says that Warrington are serious about spending any money that their owner wants to give them on top-name players. And if, let's say, there is an England Rugby Union player who plays particularly well in the Six Nations or the World Cup, and he may even have links with Rugby League, and somebody wants to go out and buy him because Rob Elston says we need stars to promote the competition with, you're going to have the licence to do that.
Who's good enough for the Rugby Unit come from Rugby League?
I don't know if Owen Farrell's good enough, because I know he played Rugby League as a kid.
Owen doesn't need to come. Owen doesn't need to come.
I know he doesn't need to, but if
doesn't
Simon
need to.
Moran said,
He doesn't need
here's
to come.
Peckforth Castle and the keys,
Well, Owen Farrell's doing very, very well.
but he may
Rugby.
decide after the next World Cup he's achieved everything in rugby.
He may decide he wants like a 100% pay cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll come, lads.
Well,
don't worry
would it-
about
would
it.
it-
See,
would
also,
it-
also
would
Would
well,
it stay in
Phil,
30 grand every time I play for
Widup's
England?
coming for less money.
Phil, also as well.
But he's returning home. There's a reason.
So
he's
might
coming,
Owen
isn't there?
Farrell. He's never tried
Yeah,
it.
yeah, but Phil
Why
also-
did Kevin Sinfield have an ill-fated season in rugby union? Because as a professional sportsman, he just wanted to say he tried it. Owen Farrell might want to end
Phil,
his career.
right.
How old
Right.
is Widow?
Yeah, 31 when he comes
so,
over here. Right,
so he's coming then for a big
he's
final
coming for his
play,
pension. But right, Phil, let me just say this about with the Rugby Union players now, and I say why would we want to come to Rugby League? Certainly on foul, you look at the George Ford, the two league players from there. The reason why Owen's old man Andrew went to Rugby Union, the reason why Jason Robinson went to Rugby Union, the reason why Henry Paul went to Rugby Union was quite simple. All right, they got a nice payday, but they wanted to be recognised on the big stage, playing international sport. Hold on, Owen Farrell. Now with the Six Nations, captain of England from there. But also too, there's another British Lions tour coming up, and it easily could be captain that. Why the bloody hell would he want to come back to Rugby
Because
League?
in 2021 he could be playing for England in a World Cup here on home
In 2021,
soil.
he
In
could
rugby
be
league.
captain of the British Lions.
No, he may have
To
achieved,
South Africa.
May have achieved everything he wants to achieve.
Are these space cakes?
Have you been on the wine today?
Have you
Phil?
been? What have you been?
Have you been on the wine
Must-
today?
I,
Phil?
I think it's a lack of sleep.
Is your head getting cold after your haircut?
I think it's a lack of sleep.
We need to sign Rory Best. What a performer he was at the weekend.
Oh yeah, did
man.
you see that? What did 12 drives and 14 metres made it?
Who's that?
The guy for was it Ulster?
Ulster.
Oh, right.
Rory Best.
They were big
But I
in
tell you
him.
what as well.
Made 6 tackles as well. For
In the
Scotty.
eights, he was-
Scotty made more than that.
But his was a career.
But
This
I think
guy was in a match.
It's a bit harsh, Phil. It's a bit harsh. But also, it's a big call as well from Cal. Is it Kirkpatrick? Is it Warrington? Is it Kirkpatrick? Cal Fitzpatrick. Yeah, by Winnip's the biggest signing, in the Super League era. I've got to debate that, to be honest with you, fellas, because even though he only played 3 games for Warrington, Andrew Jones is the biggest signing in Super League history, without a shadow of a doubt.
I don't mind him saying that because he's caused debate.
And Phil,
It clearly isn't.
Phil, I get that.
Clearly isn't the biggest signing.
I get
ever.
that, but Andrew Jones is the biggest signing, even though he only played 3 games.
But I think it's
the
great.
excitement
This
he
is what
created.
we should be talking about rather than administrators. Who was the greatest player to play Super League? I think it's a great debate,
That Welsh
even if
player,
he's wrong.
That Welsh Rugby Union player Wigan signed. What was he called? One who drove his golf cart.
Oh, the forward.
Yes,
Yeah.
Andy.
He was a good one.
late on in his career.
Yeah,
forget his
yeah,
name.
yeah. But we'll be for sure. I think two things. Warrington are trying to buy the competition, aren't they? To win.
Are they, or are they just spending their money wisely?
Well, they're spending it on top quality because they know where they're falling down, don't they? And also, another 2 things for Warrington. Certainly 2 players. It'll be end of Kevin Brown's career at Warrington. Kevin hopefully get the grand final this year because it'll be his last season at Warrington, certainly as a main player, and also Declan Patton. Now, if I were Declan's agent, I'd be on the phone and say, listen, I'm going to get you to Cass because he's no future at Warrington. Simple as that.
Alan says, what about Wally Lewis? Being one of the best.
No, not Super League. He's not. We're talking about the Super League here, aren't we?
All right,
no rugby league was played before 1990.
No. Sorry,
well, we're talking about. Well, you're talking about the quality. Well, the king. He's the king. Simple as that. No, there's no argument or debate. Wally Lewis.
Just imagine if Wally Lewis style player rocked up at Wakefield now.
That's what Brand the Week buys you.
RSW won't be able to get down there to spend his money quick enough.
There must be players at Wakefield now who aren't on the
He'd buy a mug.
Yeah, there's only one king. There won't be. Well, we will never ever see another Wally Lewis. Listen, that's sensational. I can't speak highly enough as a player what he was. You know, from a point of view where not just with the organisation, with the creativity, his toughness, his leadership, the respect he had from everybody, not just from his own players, the players, played against him. Listen, a one-off, absolute one-off, Wally Lewis.
Even if he did get sent off at Leeds.
Did he get sent off? What did he get sent off for?
It'd change somebody, wouldn't it?
I think it was more to do with constant chirping to the referee about what was happening to
him. It was like
about what was happening. Well,
mourning then, was it?
Because
mourning Aussies. Is that what you say?
Wally will tell you every opponent. You know, used to literally when he got on the ground, there were 3 or 4 of the English guys just literally smashing him, and saying to him, "Yeah, you're on £1,000 a week. Have some of that." He went, "Yeah, I'm on £900 a week more than you now. Get off your pommy so." You know, so you can understand why Wally was complaining because he was getting smashed every week.
Absolutely.
But there's only one Wally Lewis. Don't worry about
that. Sean talking about Warrington and their great signings on the YouTube. Alfie Langer, Lee Breers, he was all right. Jonathan Davis, he did okay. Yeah. By the way, did you see his picture he tweeted last week?
Yes.
What's that all about?
I tell you what, as well, when you talk about Warrington, back in my day, you look at the pack of forwards they had: Les Boyd, Steve Roach, Kevin Tamati in the front row.
You're not going to get past them,
absolute frightened. And then Les Davison in the back row, Alan Rathbone there, and then a young Mike Gregory coming through. I made a wonder they called it the zoo.
And if you needed him, if you needed him, Paul Cullen was around.
Paul Cullen, well, you know, chatty. Did I tell you about the story about when he needed me just before half time at Wilderspool? Just literally 10 seconds. I dropped the ball under our sticks, and I dived on it, and he just good friends, me and Chatty. And anyway, so he comes in. The knees, both knees in my back, and my kidneys were literally where my tonsils were supposed to be. I knew they were near my tonsils because my tonsils have gone, literally. So the half-time hooter goes, and I says, and he was running off, so I runs after him. In pain, I just said to him, "Chatty, what you done that for? What you done that for? We're supposed to be mates, me and you." He went, "Scully, it's a mark of respect." Just kept going for mark of respect. It's a good job he likes me because what would he do? What would he have done to me if he didn't like me? Honestly, but he was a quality player as well with Paul Cullen.
We heard rumours last week of dressing room unrest on pre-season tour. We're not going into detail. Some people fell out with me on Twitter about it. It's like, don't shoot me, I didn't do it. Have you any tales of pre-season or training fisticuffs? Did anyone smack you, or do you learn on anyone? You must have.
No, mate. Honestly, no.
You must have.
Honestly, I can honestly say
they didn't have warm weather training.
The pre-season
he spent 80% of his professional career in the pub, so he must have had some fight.
We used to go to Magaluf for pre-season before the Challenge Cup started. We were there in January, for 5 days. The first time we went, we played Oldham. Jesus Christ, I don't know how we won that game, to be honest with you, because we were just literally drinking. But, mate, to be honest with you, I would say on the pre-season trips I've been on, there were no trouble. Well, only the one with the Bobby Gould incident with Doug Lawton, with young Gareth Stevens. But apart from that, as far as the pre-seasons I've been on, no trouble whatsoever.
Not even at training. There must have been some scrapping at training.
No, I can say no scrapping. But arguments and debates, but no scrapping, to be honest with you.
A bit like you.
No strail arguments out of the side of a tackle shield or out like that.
Oh, you'd have some of that. Do you know what I mean? But there were not really any scrapping. Well, one of our players at Leeds under the Doug Lawton era, Gary Rose, he wanted to belt everybody, and I know the 2 front rowers he wanted to belt, Neil Harmon and Harvey Howard, but unfortunately it wasn't from there. But as far as fisticuffs go and falling out from there, it wasn't. Well, back in our day, it was discos, a few beers, and in bed at 11 o'clock.
In the morning.
Good boys.
In the morning, yeah. Curfew's 11 lads tomorrow.
Before training started.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, that would never
what about
happen
in
today,
Australia? When you went to Balmain and West, anybody looking out for you in training?
You
just
used to tell me
give
that
the
Mal
one?
really just used to go around smacking everyone anyway, so he must have had a go.
No, no. I mentioned it to Richard Olivier from the League Express about with Mal really. One thing for sure, with Mal, if Mal told you it was 12 o'clock curfew, you made sure you got in at 10 to 12. Because if you're a minute late, you know what you're going to get, so you daren't literally go against him because you knew he'd give you.
Yeah, but you always told me as a player he was always looking. As a player, he lived life on the edge.
Yeah, Mal.
He must have gone over the edge in training.
No, not really. Because we knew what he were like. We knew we could maybe just take him to that point. But then if you knew Mal raised his voice, we all know how Malcolm speaks. If you raised his voice, you wasn't going to give him a second opportunity. Honestly, no.
You scared of Mal, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
You ask anybody.
I know.
Mark, you ask anybody.
It's called respect, isn't it? I think.
Well, absolutely. Do you know what? We went on one tour, and this was you've been away with cricket, have you? But we were on 1990. You know the Roy Orbison Pretty Woman. Well, it was a team theme, a squad theme. Everywhere in New Zealand, you had to sing Pretty Woman in front of the bus, but you had the earphones on from there, so you couldn't hear yourself. But everybody on the bus did, and the microphone. So honestly, it was absolutely hilarious. Anyway, and the coaching staff had to do it, and Mal got up and did it, in his posh tone. Oh, literally, we were just literally curled up laughing, and calling him all the names under the sun. It's a good job he had his earmuffs on from there, because if he would have heard us with what we were saying about him, he would have just literally, smashed us all. But no, just a fun days, and I get team bonding, which is different ways. But as far as Mal really went, if Mal said it was 12 o'clock curfew, you was in at 10 to 12. Simple as that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. We've got a famous person listening.
Have we?
But he won't be happy with a quote of Peter Wilkinson. I think it's in relation to the article in the paper today about Danny Brough bringing trophies to Wakefield. He says, Peter, says, I didn't know they had a darts and pool team at Wakefield. That's a bit harsh. That is a bit.
I don't think any of the Wakefield players are accused.
Well, to be honest with you, what trophies are they going to bring?
Challenge Cup. Yorkshire Cup, they keep back.
They're going to be in the top 4 this year.
Who are?
Never mind the 5. They're going to be in the 4.
Who are?
Wakefield.
Going to win Super League.
Have you been on the same line as Phil Campbell?
No, I'm telling you.
Are you bonkers? Are you bonkers? They're going to be in the top 4. They're in the top 4, Wakefield.
Yeah.
Defend yourself, and how? How are they going to be in the top 4? Because they're Danny Brough.
They've improved their squad. They've been 5th the last 2 years, and really being 5th, and I think have lost a couple of games they should comfortably have won. Mm-hmm. They've got that man to get them over the line. Right. They've got players that are getting better. They've brought in Kopcha. I cannot believe a bigger club. I don't mean that, but one of the clubs chasing silverware should have been in for him. He's a quality player. They have got a really good team. If they keep injury free, they will be in the 5 for definite.
They've got competition for places in virtually every position.
Yeah.
Well, last week I said it, and I'm going to say it again. Be a test of character when they go to London next week. London want to make it.
We've got a curry on that, by the way. You do know that, don't you?
Don't worry about that. And also as well, it'll be a test of character. London, they would have looked at the fixtures and saying, "Yeah, Wakefield's won. Well, hopefully we can win." They look at Salford, they look at Ulster, maybe the black and whites on there. Tell you what, I said to you last week, and I'll say it again now. I'm taking London by 8 to beat Wakefield in the first game of the season.
That's Wakefield getting off to a good start.
I don't know if it was the first game last year. Newly promoted Ulster home to Wakefield. Wakefield went there, absolutely smashed them. They'll do it again.
The worry for London is their only pre-season game is at Doncaster yesterday, which they won easily. I don't know how that prepares you for 29 rounds of Super League.
We'll ask Danny Ward on Thursday. Last game saying.
How many games have Leeds got?
Prepare you.
They've got another game, Leeds? Well, they've only had 2, Phil.
No, they've only had 1.
Oh, Leeds?
Well, yeah, they've only really had 1, which was yesterday.
Well, Wakefield?
Yeah, only half the team played in that. Yesterday was the big hit out with, we'll pick as near as we can to a first team line.
And how did we go, you said? How did we go overall?
It was, Cass started the better.
What was the result, Phil?
26-24 to Cass.
So Leeds lost?
Callum Watkins testimony. Yeah, and deserved to. 6 tries to 5. But I think what we did see...
Did they not do goal kicking?
Well, it's interesting because I think that's where the shot clock comes in. That there is now a need to hurry up your kicking. Most of the tries were scored out wide. And because you are under this 80-second rule determined by the referee, There is more of a sense that you can't hang around. The game was quicker. There were less stoppages in play. Leeds won a scrum against the head. Because both teams were packing down to get within the shot clock, and Leeds struck for it and won the ball on a Wakefield feed. And it was allowed to go.
Kevin says London play the league on Sunday.
Oh, excellent. Good. Well, hopefully they'll play their first.
How was Liam Sutcliffe's injury? Is it serious?
He made his way to the dugout, hobbled down the touchline, but it's one of those where it needs to be scanned.
How does Leeds look?
They got better as the game wore on. Cass were clearly the best team for the first half an hour. They looked like a team that had done a week's warm weather training together, where they were crisper with their handling. I thought Peter Matauti was superb.
I think he was an underrated signing last year. He was an underrated signing. Very
real
much so.
threat from the back.
He's a good player, yeah.
Michael Shenton was in the form where if you played outside him, I could have scored. He was just giving perfect
Hold
ball.
on, is that you with your knee bandage on or without?
5 metres
We
from
need to
the
clarify
line.
that.
5 metres from the line. But he was just creating wonderful space for his
He's
winger
a world
outside.
class. Well, he's a very good centre. Well, he's world class now, but he is for me.
So Cass started really, really well. Jordan Rankin, thumbs up to him. 4 training sessions with the team. He was in charge. You know, he allowed Truman to do what Truman did. Truman set up, I think, 3 tries with kicks, but that's because Rankin was getting him to the right part of the field. So it worked for half an hour. Then Cass lost a little bit of their intensity, and Leeds found their feet in the game. It was a really enjoyable game, and the shot clock does make a difference. It does. I'm not convinced it's anything more than cosmetic, but the fact that the players are not feigning injury to get to a scrum, there's a more. Not only is there more speed to the game, but there's more licence to move the ball. So I think we saw more. That's why we got 11 tries, and they were all out wide.
One thing that surprised me was the Yorkshire Cup was played on the same run. I thought, hang on, well, is what's happening with that?
I thought there's no shot clock.
Well, that's the email we got, isn't it? It said that they were playing under. I don't know if it was.
I think
or not.
they are playing under the shot clock in the Championship, but it's not visible in the ground. So I think the referees are telling the players that your time's virtually up here. And logic says if you have the coaches in a room and say, look, you're pushing the laws too far, so we're going to tighten the laws. You probably don't need a shot clock. Part of it is the entertainment value for the people in the ground.
No, I think you do it, and then eventually you won't need it.
Well, one of the things that I think works with the shot clock is that we've reduced the interchanges.
Yeah.
So the fact is now, if you are going down injured after the shot clock is on, you have to go off. So your team is either going to be defending for a set with 12 men, or you're going to be forced to make an interchange on the limited number of interchanges you've got. So all of that, I think, added together. One thing that Steve Ganson said that was interesting was I wasn't convinced that the shot clock would make a lot of difference if on televised games we still had 74 referrals to a video referee. And to me, it seems like the video referee is taking longer. He produced stats that said it's actually less. That they're now going to the video referee for what you might call mission creep for only 2 views, who touched it before it went out. But in terms of the length of time it takes to decide on a try, he's saying that's gone down. He's also saying he's going to back the referees to make more decisions.
We might lose Steve Ganson anyway because the NFL needs someone to sort out their refs.
Did you see? Did you watch
I saw the first one. I didn't see the second one.
The second one was horrendous.
There's 2 penalties there.
Yeah.
How many referees?
Well, the Saints didn't get to the Super Bowl. The guy gets wiped out, and they didn't even. It was outrageous.
Proper obstruction.
Oh, it was outrageous. But so they've got 12 refs on there.
But isn't this part of sport? Because we don't want to argue. Mistakes need to happen.
Yeah, they do.
Otherwise, what would we talk about?
Without being rude, those were that bad. They don't need to.
How were the lead signings? Murren and
Horrell was man of the match for me.
Right.
Again, almost impossible to handle. Created a couple of lovely tries for Handley outside him. Particularly off a scrum where a team, again, are rushing to get the scrum and perhaps the defensive line isn't quite as set as it used to be. To have Horrell running out, he made a lot of metres in that aspect of the game. He looked very good. Merrin had a couple of stints and, again, got stronger as the game went on. He's just a relentless worker. You're not going to see anything too flash out of him.
How did Callum Watkins play?
Yeah, good. I mean, again, when you've been out for 7 months, it's really tough. I think he played longer. He was told he was only going to play 40 minutes and played an hour. Clearly isn't match fit, but great.
Good reception for him yesterday.
Yeah, really. 6,000 for a testimonial game is as high as it's been in recent times. That's why I just think if you make it part of the season, you have a round within the season that's the testimonial. Any player you've got that has a testimonial. If there'd been 18,000 there because it was a league game and he got a third of the gate, the club wouldn't have lost anything, but just elevates it more. It just elevates it more. No, it elevates it.
It's not. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It ain't going to happen for them.
No,
it's not going to happen.
But I think the players that got, Johnny Lomax, who had a
I
testimonial.
think does that not make you feel old?
Yes.
When it's Johnny Lomax's testimonial.
Yes. Well, when Callum Watkins is bringing on his son, and you're thinking, but I thought you were that age when I started watching you.
Oh, the halfbacks.
They'll need a bit more time. Lola here created a couple of tries with his kicks, but his kicking in general play too often went to the
Who was being the main general?
It's Lola here's game, and Myla's there again to get them in the right part of the field. And Myla gets the chance to run out of dummy half a little bit, which was good. He made some good meters, but they need time. In this cold weather, he's not going to tell you whether they're a great partnership or not. But there was some.
What's cold weather got to do with it?
Because again, they'll be playing in the middle of summer.
It's going to freeze in the next month.
I think that next week, because the season starts.
Should be running faster to keep warm then.
He'll be all right. He'll be all right. It's already looking like a more expansive team than last year.
The cast contingent on the Facebook say we all need to praise Foster for shutting Hurrell down.
He didn't shut him down. He did a fantastic job when he isn't an out-and-out centre, and he scored a great try. And slapped him around the head once, which he was penalised for. Look, Foster's a great player. You can play him anyway. He was absolutely superb, but he didn't shut down Hurrell.
I did enjoy Cass fans on social media tweeting and Facebooking that they're still unbeaten at Headingley since 2013. It's friendly, doesn't count.
No, doesn't count. Hold on. And I'm Cass's biggest fan, right?
He doesn't.
They're unbeaten at Headingley since 2013, and how many of them games actually meant anything? They lost the one that... You know what, Cass fans, you'd have happily said we've lost 50-0 every time we've been for the last 50 years and beaten them in that grand final.
Or the Challenge Cup final.
Wakefield lost.
I think
no one likes Leeds, Phil.
No, it's good, that's fine. I think Leeds thrive off that. But what was interesting was when more and more substitutions came on, obviously the intensity lessened a little bit, but both teams brought on kids that looked like they could hold their own.
If you don't like Leeds, we'll have some don't like Leeds related merchandise available soon.
All right, is that it?
Oh yeah. I'll show you in a bit. It's superb.
Very good.
I've employed.
We'll get Scotty away.
We will. I've employed.
What do you mean? I'm a Leeds supporter, so I'm not going to be wearing it.
Oh,
you'll do as you're told.
I'm a Leeds fan.
You'll like this one, Scotty. You'll like it for your grandkids will love it.
Right.
The Trieste. I can't speak French. Says a little bit of League One chat perhaps. Thunder Rugby looking the real deal. Big Wakefield on Saturday afternoon.
We're going to talk about League One a bit later on because we need to go on about that. I've got questions about Newcastle, and I mentioned the other week about the fact we've moved Magic Weekend away. I seriously think as a sport now we and this is going to be outspoken. We should be saying to that guy at Newcastle, right? We want you in Super League now. The kids are playing sport. The ground is superb. The infrastructure's already there. He's starting to put some money on. I'd be amazed if they're not top two in League One.
Newcastle Rugby Union, who play out of the same stadium, backed by the same entrepreneur, are now saying that their crowds this season are up 11%. That they're taking a game to St James's Park against Sale. They're already ahead of ticket sales for the big one or whatever there are 2 European Championship Rugby Union finals being played at St. I just hope we don't surrender that ground, because we are starting to build something in Newcastle. And I accept that Wakefield didn't take their strongest team, even though Chris Chester said there'll be some guys playing in that game who perhaps wouldn't have been if they'd performed better the week before. That's a great result for Newcastle. When you look at some of the League One sides that have played, even Super League Academy teams in this warm-up, most of them have been beat. So to turn one over, you are producing a quality of player now up in the North East. And they've not brought in a lot of players. Most of the ones are locally produced. There's something there that we cannot let go.
Well, there is. And I know Leeds were down at Coventry
again
on Friday night. Much closer than it was last year when they got absolutely brushed aside. Coventry are growing. And off the field as well. Marketing themselves better than most clubs do.
I think with Newcastle, you've seen what they're doing on the field.
But as a sport, do we not need to say to that guy? That guy can clearly, if he wants to say, I want a team in Super League, I can pay for it.
He needs to say, right,
you were having a team in Super League.
Well, and the problem with... I was no fan of the Eights, but the Eights gave 4 teams outside of Super League the chance to be in Super League. Now we've gone to 1 up, 1 down. If the guy from Newcastle has serious aspirations, it's going to take him a while. So you have to decide again, what do you want the sport to look like by the time the next television deal comes, and by the time probably 2 or 3 years after that. What do you want it to look like? Be honest and open and say, we can't turn entrepreneurs away. I think what Coventry are doing is equally as laudable, but in a different way. I think the fact that they streamed their game on Friday kept virtually the same attendance as the last time the 2 teams played, although the sides were different. Coventry had a stronger team out, Leeds had a junior academy team out. That's one of the reasons why the result was closer. But Coventry realised, and not enough teams do this, that they were bringing a brand. It didn't matter to the people of Coventry who was playing for Leeds. They were playing Leeds.
Well, I think
they also realised,
if it's the kids, that they're going to be good because they play for Leeds.
And they also knew that there was a chance they'd bump into Rob Burrow, who coaches this team, to Kevin Sinfield, who was coming down with the team, to Gary Hetherington, who's a mover and a shaker in the sport. So you can build your corporate around, come and have a real exceptional night out that you wouldn't normally have. But the other thing is streaming that game. They realised quite brilliantly that perhaps a number of Leeds fans wouldn't come this time because they weren't seeing all the top stars playing. But there were a lot of Leeds fans that paid £5 to watch that game, and I didn't find anybody that said it wasn't value for money. That is the way ahead.
It's the future.
And it's a team like Coventry that are doing that.
Yeah, and for people saying, what have I many, right? This is the basics of it, right? If you can get 1,000 people a week paying £5 to watch your game, that is £5,000 a week over a 30 grand season. 30 game season is 150,
which is double what they're being given from the centre. But even more than that, I think the important thing is that the information coming back is they made a significant profit on that £5. So you're not giving them £5 and they're giving 4 to the people that are producing the podcast. They are keeping most of it. It's a generator for the club.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
which is fantastic.
Maybe there, and all right, we know it's League One and you can't do it in the Championship, for instance, where that you might get those 1,000 people wanting to pay a £5 to watch it. But I think I think more clubs need to be a bit smarter about that.
Our league needs to do it.
Well, there you go.
I mean, but this is the problem with the sport in general. We had a discussion with people on Friday night when we were talking about this, because some people were happy to pay a £5 and some people didn't want to pay. They're not paying.
Don't play, don't watch it. Doesn't matter. Your loss. How many people pay £15 and watch a film of the boxing?
Or even these testimonial games where you're going to have unlimited interchange and you're not going to see the first team play for the full 80 minutes. People will still pay £15 for that. The choice is yours.
How much have we devalued things in the sport where people want everything for free? Someone just got a tweet earlier about the triple header at Bolton, which is going to be a great day, isn't it? Because you've got the Challenge Cup final for the women, and then you've got the 2 men's semi-finals all on one ticket, which no doubt will be cheap. And I'm trying to find the tweet now. And someone was saying, why don't we give away a load of tickets to amateur clubs or whatever? No, you've got to pay. You've got to pay for these things.
With 30,000 capacity at Bolton, which I believe is just over 30, they will sell that out because they've announced it 7 months before, which is what we've been saying. Let people know in advance. I'd buy a ticket now to just watch the women's grand final, because the women's cup final, because we were fortunate enough to be at that game last year at Warrington, and that was amongst the top 5 games I saw last year.
What's it going to be like for the players playing in that environment?
And I think fans will go early because it's a meaningful fixture.
Is it going to be the first game or the one in the middle?
You'd hope it. I don't know.
I'd
want it to be the first game.
Because
I'd say put it in the middle.
I don't know, because I think after the first game you're going to lose the majority of those fans. It's if you've lost in a semi-final, you're not going to stay around and watch anything else. If you've won, where's the nearest pub? I think put it on first, get 4 sets of fans buying into, or 6 sets of fans buying in to get there early. I think they will. I think that'll be a sellout.
But what will be interesting is, and it could well happen, is that you have one of the teams in the women's and one of the teams in the men's.
And that's what you'd hope.
Which
if you're
would
a marketer.
Be pretty good. Yeah. I mean, that could actually work out. You could have a Wigan Saints semi-final and a final.
Well, the final last year was Leeds and Cass.
Yeah,
you can imagine both of those might be in the semi-final of the Challenge Cup. They might even be playing each other. I mean, it'd just be brilliant.
But I have to say, I was really pleased about that. Really pleased that they've done that. What they have done is they've given that game some credibility before it's even started.
I think they've realised that the women's game has a marketable value to it. Why have Coral been so keen to get involved in a 7-figure bid because they get two sports effectively, not one.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think the second one that they're getting is more valuable to them as a company. And the television that's going to come with the women's game as well, I think, makes it even more valuable.
I should apologise to Bob. He actually said, what better way of re-engaging fans of amateur clubs than offering buy one get one free to anyone who collects vouchers from attending 3 games from earlier rounds, keeps first round club supporters invested and might bring them to the final. This is regarding Bolton. The problem I'd say with that is, you know when they showed amateur games on TV last year? There weren't thousands of people there. So we're catering there. We're giving away tickets to a very small amount of people.
I think do that for the final. Absolutely. Put in a reward system for going to Wembley.
Yeah, I get
But
that.
I think you can sell 30,000 seats at
especially in
proper
the north,
value.
in the middle.
Yeah.
And the sport, particularly the governing body, needs as much money as it can get at the moment.
Jeff's made a point. He says sort the bars out of Bolton. I know there was an issue last year, right? And that is not to do with the RFL. As much as I want to beat them with as many things I can beat them for, I can't beat them for that. And what you'll find is Bolton or whatever will have seen the amount of money they lost, and they will be prepared next time. Because as it stands, that club is skint, and they need every bean they can get their hands on. So I think that will happen.
Toby's
go on, sorry.
Sorry, Toby's mentioned that. Is there a slight PR wrongdoing by taking the Summer Bash to Bloomfield rather than the Challenge Cup semi-final to Bolton, given both situations surrounding the football clubs at the minute? I think Blackpool is because of its location more than anything else, and there are obviously major issues with the people who run that club on and off the field, which we don't need to get into. But the problem with the Bash this year, anyway, it's got the blooming game in Barcelona up against it.
I think the thing about Bolton is the Rugby League have seen an opportunity where they can probably get the stadium relatively cheap because the club is on its absolute uppers. But I also think we too often do things once, and you don't. It's like what you were saying about Magic Weekend. You know, what do we want it to be? But if there is an element to it where participation increases in the area in which you take it, then I think you should have the semi-finals again at Bolton, so that all the people that thought, I didn't go, but it seemed a much better occasion than I really wished I had, will get the chance to go.
We want it to sell out. And that's my annoyance at Newcastle,
yeah.
is that they've gone without selling it out. Even if you only sell one day out, you get it sold out, and that's what you do. And I think we missed a trick there.
Yeah, it's legacy.
Dom, interestingly, said, does Women's Super League have the shot clock? I don't think anyone knows. One thing I've been made aware of in the last few days is that the RFL are controlling Women's Super League, which seems strange because Women's Super League, the majority of clubs in it are in Super League. You would have thought that'd all be under one house, but we'll talk about Robert Elston and Super League
maybe not
in a
to
bit.
start with, because you're making a blank sheet of paper overly long. I think the women's sport needs time to develop. We had 7 teams in the Super League last year. It surprised even the RFL. I think they must have sat down when the season ended and went, we've created something here that we thought might be about increasing participation, but actually is about quality and standard as well.
Yeah.
And I think, another year under the auspices of the people looking after it, build it again. Now there's 8 teams in Super League. Championship's been strengthened. I don't have a problem. At some point, it may have to transfer over. I know at Leeds, which is the only experience I've got, and I apologise to anybody.
No, that's fine. We will let you off.
The women's team came through the foundation.
Yeah.
It was formed through the idea was
I think they all are out there. I think they all are.
It was all about participation for more women and girls starting in schools and leading up to open age. It's now been taken on by the club. From the foundation, because I think again there is a marketing exercise that needs to be done that's beyond the charitable arm of the club. So I think gradually, as the teams become under the clubs, then the Super League will take charge of the competition. But at the moment, there's probably not enough for them to get their teeth into.
Okay. Good stuff. Gary makes a good point. By having it at Bolton, you're missing a chance of rewarding Headingley with a semi-final after all the money they've spent. I think the problem... Not a problem. It's not a problem at all. Headingley's a great ground. It looks amazing. It ain't even finished yet. It doesn't hold enough people.
But it needs to be a neutral venue. And I'm not saying Leeds will get there, but if you decide...
There's a good chance they may.
But even if you're deciding a venue 7 months out before the competition started, you cannot be seen to be favouring one of the teams that are in it.
No, completely agree.
The interesting thing is, we know that the bit we haven't talked about it, because we talked about it endlessly last week, that Catalan are in, thank goodness.
Yes.
We need to know if Toronto are going to be in.
Yeah. To lose.
No, Toulouse have decided they don't want to.
Don't.
Last year, they weren't in it. Because they're not members of the league, they can make a decision. I think they felt last year, particularly with the 8s, that they had more chance of getting promotion if they weren't in the Challenge Cup. So there was a loophole that they exploited. I don't think we've excluded them. It's the other way around.
Yeah, they don't want to
but Toronto do want to be in the Challenge Cup. Be very interesting now to see how the governing body justify, well, we'll let one team in who we want to put a bond on, but we still don't want to let the other one in.
This is where the RFL can't win with Phil's comments. Bolton, he says, it's a nice stadium, but we're putting money away from rugby league by using a football stadium. But if you use the rugby league stadium, of which there aren't actually that many of them,
well, who's got a rugby league stadium that you could use?
Well,
Leeds,
Warrington,
St Helens,
Bradford,
and Bradford,
and Hull KR.
Yeah,
Wakefield.
Wakefield, Cass. Yeah, there's your argument.
You're not putting a triple header semi-final at any of those grounds.
No, you're not. So I think we've got to bite the bullet on that one. With a view being that 30,000 now becomes 60,000 in 10 years.
We still make some money off it, though. It's not as if.
If we don't, someone wants to.
Management company makes money.
Sky, people are wondering why you're not saying anything. Come on, you've got to contribute, son. You can't just sit there.
No, you two are debating what you just debating, aren't you? Phil's the intelligent one.
I won't go that far. Triple header.
Oh yeah, I'm all for it.
I remember you and I were at a women's final in 1995 at Keighley.
Yeah.
And it was a fabulous game, but it was part of a World Cup event.
Oh yeah, I'm all for the women's rugby league. Don't worry about that. The skill level is sensational, and the commitment and enthusiasm, the purpose, what they show. I don't have an issue with the ladies taking part, and put them on the big stage. And as far as the double header goes, can't fault it.
Yeah.
Bolton was a success last year. All I'm hoping is that the Championship clubs and League One clubs aren't playing that weekend as well, because it stops all the fans going to that event. And I'm just hoping they're not playing that weekend when it's there, because it's just stopping the supporting their team.
So you introduced the realism part of the programme now, and that's where people get upset, because immediately something's good, and then we go, "Oh, but what about?" And they'll go,
A lot of people impressed with Scott wearing his Wakefield shirt.
Even though he says they're not going to make.
I've sent an email, a Gmail. I'll send it later, Gary. Said if you don't start talking up Wakey for the top 5, they want the shirt back.
Hey, listen, I'm not down in Wakefield, but I just feel as though Bruffy's not going to be the total answer. I don't, and I think if you look at the way that Bruffy is at Huddersfield, at times he gets frustrated and he loses the plot, and he gets himself sin-bin, he gets himself sent off, he gets himself banned from games. So, because what Bruffy's got to realise is he is their marquee signing. He's the main man. So I know the noises what Bruffy's making. He's been the best in training.
Bruff with the points approved is a different man.
Well, listen, you've ripped into him a few times.
I have.
So my big question is, hey, listen, I like Danny Bruff as a player. On his day, he's the best scrum half in Super League, head and shoulders above anybody else. There's no two ways about that, but will he be able to handle the pressure? The pressure's on, and as I say, I don't think Wakefield will make the 5.
I think
if you want your T-shirt back, you can have your T-shirt back.
And you're not washing it.
Who were in the 5 then? Just to, new listeners all the time, who were in the 5?
Warrington's the top.
Yeah.
St Helens.
Yeah.
Catalans. Wigan.
Yeah.
And my beloved Leeds.
What about your beloved Hull?
I've told you where Hull are finishing.
All right, that's your 5. No, go over like that. That's the 5. Yeah. That's the 5.
So is that what we say to Lee Radford on Thursday? So Scully says you're going to finish in the bottom 4. What do you think of that?
Yeah.
And
he'll go, Scully's
the thing about that is that's
a good lad, actually.
So does Mark Wilson. Mark Wilson thinks they're finishing 9th and all. Don't worry about
that. That's written the
whole. We're going to weigh up whether he's got his tooth in or out, because that might just enable me to gauge how hard he's going to hit me.
I think.
Listen, me and Rams are still like that. I wished him Happy New Year and whatever. He sent me a message back. Scully, Happy New Year to you, pal. Look forward to seeing you. So I don't have a problem with that. Don't have an issue.
Do you think Lee Radford gives one?
No, not at all.
No, but what it will do is it'll give the whole Daily Mail 3 days of stories.
Are you on there today? Did you say anything about Hull in your column?
No, I've not mentioned that yet. So
they have to do some work today.
So he must have been bored to death, at work. That what's his name? Peter. What they call him?
Paul Clark.
No.
Yeah, Paul.
No, it was some
James Smales.
Sorry,
James Smales.
Yeah, Smales. Yeah. So he must have been bored today, not copying what I write in my column.
John says Scully couldn't tip a barrow. You know him well, John.
You think Scully would look good in that T-shirt?
Yeah, possibly.
Coming soon. I can't show people.
Can't show you.
Because I don't want people to steal the idea.
Trade secrets.
Because people will be doing these things.
What's happening in the world of...
Andrew's asked a couple of times, and I was reminded of this last night. Matt Chechen, he's not coming, is he? After all that stuff he might come over.
I don't know.
I believe the issue might be getting a visa for his partner.
Right.
Who's this?
The Australian referee, Matt Chechen.
Not now.
What do some of these people get into the championship then?
Don't think it's
That's
them.
a serious question. Yeah, but they must bring their partners with them.
Maybe they don't.
What do we want Aussie referees for?
Because we are short of referees. Phil Bentham's retired.
Has he?
Yeah,
Do you not read 4020?
Injury, yeah.
Magazine?
Yeah, of course it is.
Magazine out now,
Is
latest
there a
edition.
testimonial?
I think we should give a subscription away to the
retired,
best tweet, by the way.
There you
A subscription.
Happy to give a subscription away to
I've
the
got an
best
idea
tweet.
about that. We'll do that later.
Right. Yes, Phil Bentham has
Well, what's
retired.
the pitch?
He has now become...
Come on.
Looks like
Not
Wakefield.
Headingley now.
go.
Yes, apparently he's now a coach of the referees rather than a referee himself. The injury that he suffered at Widnes in his collision,
clattered him.
he's not recovered from, and likelihood is not going to sufficiently to risk another contact in play.
Oh.
So
I'm actually quite sad about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm
Great
quite sad
referee.
about
Great
that. I like
referee.
Phil. He once came on our show when I worked on the dark side. He came on, it was good value. Really good value.
Oh, he's a good bloke, yeah.
Good fella.
well, Robert
He's a
Hicks was
decent
great
golfer
when he
as
came.
well.
Oh,
on.
look,
Tim
they
Rogan
are
was
good
great
guys.
when he came.
They are
on.
good guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see that.
I think he should be on the front page of the trade press next week.
Yeah, Big Phil. Oh, I'm
Have
good
we,
about that.
have we broken another exclusive?
He's a decent golfer as well, Mark. He's Ben, well, he won't be now if he's injured and what have you, but a decent golfer is Ben.
Yeah.
Well, he
He
might
must
have more
be better-
time
he
to
must-
practice.
I'm not being rude. He must be better than you.
Can I ask a question?
You're not
This
better
is
than me, I'm better
it's
than
a
you.
question for Phil, but not with reference to anything. Does who you put on front of the magazine affect sales much?
Yes, but being a monthly, that's slightly different to being a weekly. We have quite long discussions about what we want our front pages to look like because we're trying to hit an audience outside of the traditional geographical area. The bulk of our subscribers don't come from the north of England. Now, some of those are obviously XRs, but what we want is somebody in King's Cross Station that might see an image that goes, oh, I saw that game on Friday, I might be interested to know a little bit more about it. So, yeah, it's safe to say thought goes into who is on your cover. There are certain teams that inevitably sell higher than others, that if fans see their man on the front, they will buy it. But we've had about 5 or 6 different changes of cover and cover philosophy, and I think we're going to do another one for this season. So, yeah, it's important. But if you're in the news market on a Monday, their news value is who they've got on their front pages. Whether we like it or not, it is no coincidence that both trade papers and a lot of the national papers targeted one man to interview this week.
It's a shame the word.
Now, whether we agree with it or not, I don't know, but that is news value.
There you go. I just wanted to ask because people might want to know that.
That's why we've never had many front cover 4020 for like because you want to sell some.
Free dartboard with this issue of 4020.
Or keep the kids away from the fire, scone on the front cover.
Thanks.
What they should do is have a swear box in the shop, right, and just put you on the front page, and then they'd make more money. You'd make more money on the swear box, wouldn't you? You would.
We would.
You would.
Harsh.
No, it's not. It's right.
If they ever bring back Great Britain, it gives us an excuse to put you on the cover, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It does.
Yeah.
Which
With
is the
you-
kind
with
of
your
thing we're
golden
open
cap.
to.
With your golden cap.
We could have you in the stand, raising your golden cap to the current generation that carry on your
Well, this is my
tradition.
golden cap. I've got 46 Great Britain caps. More than
We
anybody
could have you
else.
juggling.
This
the
show, this
Sorry.
show's got 46 Great Britain caps.
Sorry,
Don't you forget
this
it.
team. Sorry, this
Don't
team.
forget it.
This team of 46.
We
Great
could have
Britain
you
caps.
juggling them in the stand.
Or, as the Rugby Football League call it now, we've got 49 international caps, whereas England and Great Britain was totally separate. But if you want, we've got 49 international caps. This team.
Before I read Stephen's question to Scotty, because Stephen asks me this every week and I always forget. You know, we might put. These two don't know this. We've been tapped up to a live show. We might be doing a live show from a chip shop.
Yeah.
We've
We
been
do.
out-
We do
What? We might
actually. We
not
do
be
actually
doing-
need to set a calendar, so we'll work on that this
This-
week.
this
Which
might
chip
be-
shop is it?
Well, I can't reveal it until
Can't
we've got
reveal.
the,
No, we don't.
Well,
want
all
anyone else
4 of
getting-
us have been asked today.
All four of us, yeah.
live show,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
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 They
Where-
said,
whereabouts?
They said, I'm not sure if there's any
Local.
budget.
I like the sound of
They
that.
said, I'm not sure if there's any budget. I say,
What do you say? I don't want a budgie, I want fish and chips.
Yeah, just fish,
I think that sounds like a contra deal to me.
Oh, yeah.
fish and chips.
We'll give PR to your fish and chip shop.
Exactly.
We'll eat the fish and chips.
We'll turn up,
Yeah.
we'll work for food. Ask Scoey, will Tom Johnson get a chance to be top try scorer this season?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
Of course he will.
We said it last week. Certainly with creativity there, you look at Brough, you look at Miller, and outside Tupu, without a doubt, he can finish top of the league. You know, the thing with Johnson is he doesn't want to score the tries by just the kicks coming across the field on the last tackle. The kick could go 90, 80, 70, 60, 50 yards. So, yeah, Johnson will be up there without a doubt as one of the top try scorers.
Having seen the highlights of the first half of St Helens against Hull from Saturday, Tommy Makinson's going to get a lot of chances outside of Kevin Nguama. He might be worth looking at as top try scorer.
Oh, I'll have a look now at the prices. Peter spent £10
£10
on a train to Manchester for a copy of 4020. Don't sell them in Macclesfield. Loyal reader. Subscribe, Peter.
Subscribe, Peter.
No,
We'll send it to you.
I think
Hold on,
Brian's...
can we all be quiet at home, please? Ralph's here.
Oh, is it Ralph? He's had a good day. Is he ringing the conference?
Yeah, he's getting out and about now. He's getting out and about. He's getting out and about.
For the international calendar.
Andy says, why not do a live show in a curry house and we'll all come? Andy, we are aiming, Andy's a big Warrington fan, isn't he?
Yeah.
We are aiming to come a bit nearer you. So we will bear with us, caller.
Andy's the one who doesn't like Sam Tompkins, so you'll be pleased to know, Andy, we're going to try and speak to him at the Super.
Are we going to try and go to Catalan and do a live show there? I'd be up for that.
We might do. We might do.
Coventry.
Phil says Scully will be great in the jungle. Phil, don't encourage him. He wants to go in the jungle. We want him to go in the jungle.
We want him to go when the show's not on.
Yeah, exactly.
Why say dancing on ice?
No.
What just imagine him in something
What's
like
your balance like?
Mind you, in fairness, that shirt's tight as like her anyway.
What is?
That shirt.
Is it X?
What is it?
Yeah,
that?
no, it's not
They
triple
don't
X.
have your size in the shop, or what?
Triple X, that's me there. In WWE. See?
Luke Menzies.
That's me making my debut.
I've seen him wrestle twice. He's lost both his matches. It's not going well for himself, though.
Yeah, but he's got to lose a few, hasn't he, to get his name out there.
Oh, yeah.
Got to lose a few to win a few, you know.
Wins and losses don't matter, though. That's what they always say.
Exactly. What else do you want to talk about in the next hour or so we're here with you? What I want you to do this week, dear listener, is not only like, share, retweet the link that we've put out on social media, is also subscribe to the podcast. Because we had a record number of listeners last week. So if you can do that, where is it? iTunes,
Podbean,
everywhere.
Spotify, we're on Spotify,
Everywhere.
yeah.
What number are we in Luxembourg?
369 this week.
Is that a new high?
I think we just hover around that. We must have one listener in Luxembourg. In fact, I can find out. If
you're our man in Luxembourg, or lady, we're not.
We'll do a live show from there.
We do have listeners in random places around the world.
We do. I keep getting tweets from people. So, I listen in Australia, listen here, listen there.
Who got there?
Tommy Makinson is 16 to 1 to be top try scorer.
Is he?
I'd stick him on each way.
Someone who scored a couple of tries yesterday is 66 to 1, but not mentioning his name.
No, who's it? Pointing out to me.
Him. That fella.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Tom Johnston 8 to 1. Well, Makinson at 16 to 1. That sounds good, doesn't it?
Who's the man of steel?
Blake Austin's the favourite.
Blake Austin, yeah.
Who apparently was very good on his debut.
Yeah, well, as I said a couple of weeks ago when I read the piece about him in the League Express, he's come in the right attitude, he's come at the right age. Excuse me, he wants to be one of these final pieces in the jigsaw to get Warrington what they want to get, and that's a grand final. And reading the report certainly today, my only little bit of concern for Warrington could be if he gets injured, because they're putting all their eggs in one basket from there, they're building everything around him.
Really, yeah, but you could say that about a lot of teams, Gary.
Salford are doing that around Jackson Hastings.
No, but what? Yeah, well, you've seen about with Salford from there, but Salford aren't going to get anywhere near the grand final, Phil and Mark. And so, but what I'm saying is, all the onus is going to be on Blake Austin. If anything does happen to him, you know, Patton and Brown, are they going to be able to fill them shoes? They're not. So if anything does happen to Austin,
well, they got to be fair, they got to the grand final without him. I think it's broken.
No, it's not working.
By the way, was that biscuit nice for it, Gary? I mean, I didn't want one. I don't know if Phil wanted one or Richard wanted one or the listeners at home wanted one. You know, I was just asking if they were nice. You never offered one around.
I'll get ripped in.
Yeah. I'm getting ripped in.
They'll be taking them home.
Eh?
I'll get ripped in.
They have someone's eye out with that shirt in a minute. one of the buttons will pop
seen
up.
a great photo today provided by Phil.
No, I haven't seen it. What is
It's
it?
the Rugby League centenary from 1995. And there's all kinds of great and good people on there, and some other people as well.
Michael Parkinson's on.
I thought that was Michael Parkinson.
Michael Parkinson. I can remember winning his golf day, the Panel Golf Club, 1989. Yes, for the.
Did you cheat like you normally do?
For the Taverners.
Did you cheat?
At Panel. No, I didn't.
I want to ask you, did you cheat?
No, I didn't.
You normally do.
No, I didn't. I played off a handicap of 18 and a lovely piece of decanter, nice piece of glass. Michael Parkinson, massive rugby league fan.
Parker Penn.
Great fan.
Wakefield fan, I think.
Was he a Wakefield fan?
He was on the vice president's list at some point.
Great fan, Michael Parkinson.
Yeah.
Loves his rugby league. Yeah. Managed to. Remember Michael Stockdale, one of the directors of Leeds at the time. He got me the invite there, and Palo Golf Club. I played at Palo, Mark. Have you played there? Just on the outskirts of Harrogate.
I just had about one of them things, and it's quite hard to speak.
So I never saw Scully on Give Us a Clue next to Lionel Blair going up against.
What about that thing where you went round somebody's house? Did they ever go take the golden key to Belle Isle?
Through the keyhole.
If you put it in door, it got pinched.
They're all on it. Super Mo, Uncle Morris is on there as well. Neil Fox's Tash, Alex Murphy, Sir Rodney Walker Megadome's on there.
Yeah. I'll tell you what as well. I know. We're trying to. I know Mark's mentioned Robert Elston's name a couple of times, but let's. With Robert here and the man himself, Mr. Lindsay, hits out at Super League clubs. And I mentioned last week with Robert Elston, he's being a puppet realistically from what Maurice Lindsay is saying and getting his voice heard back now with Super League. And I'm pretty intrigued here with a couple of things what Maurice is saying. And
I think Maurice listens to our show reading this.
Well, but also as well, what Maurice has got to realise is from day one since day dot 1895, all the clubs have had a representative from all the clubs, so it's always been clubs' interest. And I say what Maurice is saying here.
Hold on, did Maurice send you 20 grand when the Sky take over?
Nothing, bigger a penny.
Are you a friend of Maurice?
No.
No.
No. He was in ending international career as well, but that's another story. And when he's saying 12 directors is not the answer, they can't sacrifice their own interests to develop the game as a whole. This is a conflict of interest there. Well, to be honest with you, when Maurice was in charge of the game, his only self-interest was Wigan Rugby League Club. Wigan Rugby League Club should have been relegated. They breached the salary cap with Stuart Fielding, with Michael Dobson. They should have got 4 or 6 points. And they didn't from there. So realistically, all he's doing is contradicting himself because the game is only self-interest. Wigan could care less about St Helens. St Helens could care less about Warrington. Warrington could care less about Leeds. It's all the self-interest. So if he's trying to get it where all the clubs are going to pull together, under the umbrella say, we've got to do the good for the game, it ain't going to happen. It's never going to happen. And also, he's saying from a point of view where the directors and the people who are running the game, they've got to let Mr. Elston get on with it. They've got to have an independent body. They've got to have an independent chairman. Well, where are these people going to come from?
I think Mr. Elston should be the independent chairman.
That's what he's been appointed. But unfortunately, Phil, he's been appointed by the head of the clubs who are in the game in Super League. So it's not going to happen because it's all self-interest.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's not going to happen.
And they did set up a board of directors in, was it 1996 when Super League came in? The great Harry Jepson was one of them. Yeah. 6 people who directed the sport, and none of whom were deemed to have a club loyalty, even if they came from clubs. They were seen to be statesmen of the sport. I think we could get back to that.
But the problem is, and this is, we didn't get invited last week, Phil. I think you and I, or you, Richard, and I were the only people in the media that didn't get invited. So thanks,
to be fair,
thanks for that.
Where was that not to say?
Media briefing with Mr. Elston.
Me, to be honest.
Well, a media briefing with Mr. Elston, and we've started asking questions about Mr. Elston, and I think those questions need now to be followed up and asked a little bit more vigorously, because he's giving politician answers to me. I'm hearing people asking him questions, and he's not giving straight answers. The Magic Weekend might be going to Barcelona. Great. Why?
How?
What is the benefit for anyone of it going to Barcelona? Who's going to benefit from that? Right, we've got kids playing in the north of England. We've taken it away from there. So I wonder how much money are you getting from going to Liverpool? Quote that figure. Let us know what it is. And then say, right, we're going back to north of England in Newcastle, where it's having a positive effect on what's going on there. Because in Liverpool, they've already got 3 teams down the road. Warrington, Widnes and St Helens. They've got enough. They don't need it in Liverpool. I don't see what benefit that is to anybody.
But is it just a commercial? Is it a commercial cash cow for the?
Well, if it's a commercial cash cow, why isn't it being publicised how much they're getting for it? And that worries me straight away.
And they need to say we will put it to the highest bidder.
Yeah.
So fans, you'll be going where we tell you because it'll be.
But why go to Barcelona? What is the merit? Unless Barcelona are going to rock up and say we're going to give you £1 million, in which case we're going. I get that, we're going. If it's in Iceland, it's £1 million, we're off. That's where we're going. If it's getting money in. He was asked about reserves. Oh well, that's not on the agenda at the minute. You know that I'm trying to sort of TV. Have they brought this guy in just to get them a TV deal? Is that all he's there for? Because he's on a hell of a lot of money to do that. You know, and I'm not so sure. You know, he's asked about this. That's not my issue. That's the RFL are dealing with. Oh, that's for the clubs to decide. Well, he's in charge of this game. Why is he now not laying down the terms?
The question is he in charge?
Well, that's my point. That's my point. He's a puppet.
Well,
he's a puppet, in my opinion.
Well, whatever terminology you want to put onto it, is he in charge of the game?
No, he's not.
The simple answer is he's not.
He's got 12 bosses.
Yeah, who all want different things.
All want something different.
All self-interest.
And that's the issue.
Yeah.
That unless you stand above that and start telling people, because this is the plan. And what we've done is, as clubs, we've all signed up to the plan. You've now given me the plan to implement the plan. Now, if I come back to you somewhere down the line and say, this plan doesn't involve you anymore, you've accepted that by asking me to implement the plan.
Yeah.
But we haven't done that.
But that's not going to happen, is it?
Well, it's like you mentioned...
a statement, Salford, we're confident they'll get to the start line. You imagine if in the Premier League they go, well, we're hopeful they might turn up. They might get there, the lads. With a bit of luck, they should be all right. No.
I also think he brought in the subject of nines, which again is something that
we're going to have 9. Why?
Well, this is what I got
not only why, but how. You know, where in the season that is too convoluted at the moment are we going to have 9s?
Yeah.
How does that link into the fact that we've got a World Cup 9s, which is under a different governing body? But then you say, but don't really say to anybody we're having 9s because I don't really know if we're having 9. Well, then don't say it.
Yeah, but this is what I mean. It's sound bites. It's we're going to Barcelona. Oh, we're going to have 9s. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. Right, when's it happening? What's happening?
And why?
There's no follow-up. That's my point. There's not been any follow-up. This guy's been coming in, and for me, he's getting a free ride at the minute. He's been there 7 months now, and I'm not sure... All right, he's tired. Oh, we brought a shot clock in. Great. Yeah, well done.
You'll be
I'm not being rude.
To know,
between us, we could have come up with that idea.
On Thursday, at the big media unveiling of the new tournament, we will see the video. We'll be the first to see it.
So a week before the season, we'll see the video?
Yeah.
Right. Great.
Yeah, but I've already seen the rugby union people score all those tries on ITV over and over again. And the netball people do that. Throw the ball like that. And it goes in and they go, yeah. Although they lost, they didn't win the thing at the weekend.
They beat Australia, though.
It's
always good to beat Australia at anything.
It is. But I just want to see now what Mr. Elson... I want to see some actions rather than words. You know, and be fair to the RFL, I gave them some credit earlier on for sorting out the cup. We still need to know about Toronto. Yay or nay. What about an official statement about that?
Absolutely.
We want to know about the Great Britain tour. We're still none the wiser about that. We
pathetic,
want to know what is happening at Keighley, because as I understand it, we're none the wiser on what's happening there. Their season starts in a couple of weeks' time, and we're not sure if a team is even going to be in it or what state they're going to be when they are in it.
Well, I can tell you, the situation at Keighley at the moment is an absolute shambles. It's still an absolute shambles. I'm still waiting to be paid for my role. And I was on a pay. I was an employee, and I'm in court. I'm taking them to court. My court date's on the 15th of March, so which unfortunately is had to do. Craig Lingard, the coach Nathan Graham, who was there, the physio, and also Paul Royce, the conditioner. They've not been paid for 7 months. It's an absolute shambles. And I say at this moment in time, Keighley, they're still in special measures. I'm led to believe there's an RFL meeting on Wednesday to decide with the 2 consortiums who have made bids. To get the guy who took over from Austria Holdings in Shane Spencer, but this could have been stopped. This could have been sorted out over the last 3 or 4 months with information what the RFL have had. It's an absolute shambles. It's not fair. The people who I feel sorry for is the supporters of Keighley, the sponsors of Keighley who have been there, and I'd say it's them. It's them who've been cheated. It's them who've been lied to, because they're still thinking, and with all the history and the heritage what Keighley have got, that they've got a club. At this moment, I can reassure you, they have not got a club who they can support, because the RFL, I have not taken the decisive action that should have been taken
months ago. Are the players still training?
Yeah, the players are still training, but they're only training on a week-to-week basis under these special measures. I think there's only 9 players left from last season. The rest of them are trialists, so they're only training under special measures. So from an insurance point of view, and they can't come out of special measures as yet. So you look at preparation before a season. The first game's against Whitehaven. Whitehaven don't even know if they're going to have the first game against Keighley. So you need hopefully.
So that's having a knock-on effect. People at Whitehaven are going, well, do we buy a ticket, whatever, or what are we going? Or?
Absolutely everywhere. And but just to go back again with the situation when you look at Redact Morris, Lindsay story with the Robert Elston. Since the game came into it 1995, all it has been is self-interest. And what we've shown, mate, it will not change. It will not change the self-interest in our sport. It's as simple as that.
Toronto are back in action. Sandy was there. Had a very good time in Hull, watching the Toronto Wolfpack game. Good pre-season game despite the loss. Ricky Letuli? Him. He was awesome. Super excited to see what the new season will bring. Another trip to Hull KO because he's going to play a double header there later in the season.
So you don't have a ground for months, and then you play as many games on it as you can.
But not in Belgrade.
Yeah, but not in Belgrade.
No.
Where again, the stadium was deemed not to be to requirement, which could have been decided in advance of all the work that was done to try and get a game.
Like that park Toronto played in the couple.
But Red Star are in fact in the Challenge Cup this weekend.
But didn't pay £500,000. Steve says, can the boys say hello to my friend Paula for me?
Hello.
It's like Radio 1.
Hello, Paula.
Well, hold on. If it's right Radio 1, where's all the licence fee? Who's hiding that from us?
What, from the Biased Broadcasting Corporation?
Who does Paula support? She a Leeds fan? Wakefield fan? Hull fan? Who do you follow, Paula?
Robert saying the NRL's had their promo out already 2 months before the start of the season.
Well, the NRL haven't, Channel 9 have. So the point that was being made by retweeting that and saying this is 2 months before rather than 2 weeks before, that was done by the broadcaster. So it wasn't meant necessarily at the governing body. It was more at where's our promotion on Sky at the moment. Also, as well, Phil, you know more with this. And again, another situation what's becoming a bit of a shambles is the international calendar. What has been announced that they're going to be playing in Papua New Guinea and then playing 2 tests in New Zealand and Tonga in there. They've not even given the dates out. They've not been given venues. Who runs the international calendar? So is it the RFL with the NRL or NZRL
or with the Kiwi Rugby League? Who's sorting this out now?
The RLIF provide dates in the calendar where matches can be played. The governing bodies of the teams involved have to come together and actually host those games. Do all the calculations as to whether they're viable or not.
Yeah, so hold on, maybe Big Knives might be inviting England and New Zealand to play in the Yorkshire Cup next season
at Odsal.
The home of rugby.
And he can do commentary. That'd be good.
Well, do you know what? I was going to say it last week, but I'm going to say it today. I'm going to say it tonight anyway, and I put it in my column today. You know, I watched a programme about 10 days ago, David Attenborough programme. We know David Attenborough; it's sensational.
You're a fan, aren't you?
And, a big supporter of rugby league.
Do you know what? And it was about baboons, and it was a big family of baboons of about 15 of them. And do you know what? Even though I couldn't understand what the baboons were saying in their language, they had purpose and they had communication. Do you know what? That family of baboons could run the game better than what we have been run. It's as simple as that. They have purpose, they communicated, and they got response. What response do we get? Absolute nothing. Shambles. Absolute shambles.
We should invite Sir David Attenborough to present the Challenge Cup this year. Because of his role in rugby league and getting it on
the BBC.
The BBC Two Public Trophy.
Eddie went to see him and he went, that's a good idea, we'll have some of that.
Snooker and rugby league.
But why are we not giving dates and why are we not giving venues? People want to go and watch Great Britain. But they can't do anything.
I think
I'm getting people asking me all the time.
It's monetary, because I think neither governing body has a shekel to rub together. So they need to make sure that the costs and the trouble is they messed up last time out, didn't they, at Denver? They didn't get the money that they were promised in advance, and then the last tranche of money.
Why didn't they get the money up front?
Well,
or 50% deposit up front?
Well, I think they got their 50% deposit, but I think they needed all of it.
But
a new entrepreneur that comes in the game, I think you say to him before a ball is kicked, you pay everything.
But when you look at all the other sports now, and all the internationals, what they're playing, what are we doing? We're doing absolutely nothing. But again, I know it may have nothing to do with the clubs from this point of view, but the clubs couldn't care less now about the international game, could they? Because it's all self-interest, with their own clubs.
The international board, the RLIF, have sanctioned a mid-season international window. So in the Southern Hemisphere...
Who's that against?
Well, no, in the Southern Hemisphere we already know who's playing who.
Yeah.
Over here in the Northern Hemisphere, the RFL didn't mandate the Super League clubs to have that mid-season weekend. So there is no mid-season weekend.
So we're like League One in football. There's an international break, but we'll still be playing.
Exactly. Two things on the international front which are quite significant. One at club level.
Go on then.
And one at international level. Word emerging that Justin Holbrook might now be a wanted man by Cronulla because Shane Flanagan has resigned.
Yeah. Has he quit, has he, Shane?
Yeah, he's not going to go through the process at the end of the month by deciding whether or not he did communicate with Cronulla when he was banned.
So is he banned from the game then?
He is now... The only way he could have a job would be over here if we...
Oh, so he's banned from so the NRL have banned him, have they?
Well, I don't know if they have to now because he's resigned. Whether if he then got offered another job, he'd have to go through it. I don't. But the word coming from Australia is if he wants to resurrect his career, he's going to have to do it in Super League. But Cronulla are now saying that Justin Holbrook, who we had an eye on anyway, who was good while he was at the Roosters, doing some good things at Saints. Contracts up at the end of the year.
Straight swap, Holbrook for Flanagan.
That's what the word from Australia is that might be being looked at. But the other thing that is quite interesting, I think, from an international perspective, is you're saying what do we do on international basis? Fiji, the NRL have actually shown some expansion desire. The Fijian team that is going to play in the New South Wales Rugby League is now going to be paid for by the Australian government. In the same way that the PNG team plays in the Queensland competition, PNG have got immeasurably better as an international side because more of their domestic players play at a higher level. Same's going to happen in Fiji. But we were talking about pre-season games, what we do with them, what's the best thing we can do with them, why perhaps we need more of them and the season needs to start later to accommodate them. There's going to be at least one game of two NRL teams in Fiji, stroke the Pacific, for the next 3 years. The same way that the NFL have just announced their 5 international games and they're now going to Mexico, I think.
They didn't go that this year because of the pitch, but they do one game is generally.
But they call them the international matches. So they've got 4 over here. The NRL are taking at least 3 over the next 3 years into Fiji and the Pacific.
But also as well, when you listen to our players, certainly from the World Cup and after the New Zealand series was just gone. You listen to the guy who's in charge of it as well with Ralph Rimmer, with Kevin Sinfield. The great thing about it is that the players want the international calendar. The players want to go abroad. The players want an international calendar. So what the hell is wrong with them? What the hell is wrong with the governing body to sort out the calendar? Because this is what brings the television money. This is what brings the sponsors in.
But the other thing is, how do we get a Great Britain side that is representative of 4 nations? Because again, if Great Britain go, it can't just be England by another name. There has to be at least
good enough for Wales, Scotland and Ireland.
Regan Grace might get in as a winner.
Oh, Phil, with quality wingers.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
We've got quality wingers.
But for it to matter...
It could do a job, but it's not the best we've got.
For that Great Britain jersey to have real resonance, there can't just be England turning up in a
you can't just pick any. You can't just pick any Welshman, Scotsman, Irishman.
You pick it on merit.
Well, of course you do.
But then I think you say that maybe some of the players that we've seen play for the other nations are... does Danny Brough come back if he has a wow of a year and he's Scotland's representative?
Maybe, but don't forget in the old Danny
Brough can't play for Scotland again. The way you let Scotland out the World Cup, he can't be considered again.
Scotland, he's playing for Great Britain
in the rugby union. In the rugby union, was it one Scottish player in last time or 2 in the
British Lions?
But it wasn't England, was it? It was representative of.
No, if you go on Great Britain's is a light class. Great Britain's class.
So if there was one Scotland player, even that one Scotland player might not have been of merit compared to a player in England. I don't know.
It's different though, isn't it? But in the rugby union because they play all the friendlies during the week, so you can say, we'll take a few lads and then play them.
Well, maybe that if we're serious about the Great Britain Lions, that's what we need to do, and not just play Test matches. They should play the grand final winners maybe, and play some of the fringe players. Let's see what they're good at, whether they're any good or not.
Well, I'll agree with you.
If we're going to have a Nines on at the same time, a World Nines in Sydney, and Regan Grace is playing for Wales in the World Nines, he should be able to be eligible to play for Great Britain if, say, they were playing, I don't know, Western Australia in Perth. And then the tour has a midweek game and a test match game. But it's representative of all 4 nations.
But the only way you're going to get that, Phil, is if we replicate the season down under.
Oh, there is that.
Yeah. That is, it's a million miles. And now the problem you've got is that because Super League aren't going to benefit from the money that goes to the RFL for the international game, they're going to go, well, we might as well earn an extra 100 grand doing what we're doing. You can suit yourself.
And you know as well, having seen some World Cup qualifiers this year, that players tend to put themselves forward when they're going to qualify for a World Cup. And in years that they're not, they don't. So we don't know how good Scotland, Wales and Ireland will be because, again, they don't have enough fixtures and they don't have enough fixtures of meaning. And if they did, and it meant something, and they were released by their clubs because they had to do so under the laws of the game, and if they didn't release them, they would miss the next couple of Super League games, then all of that needs to be taken into account.
It will be. I'll tell you what will be interesting, right? And we can do this. We know for a fact, because the coaches in the national teams have said, younger players were told they weren't allowed to play.
Correct,
they had to report whatever for training, blah, blah, blah. It'd be interesting. We can get those names. We can even work those names out, who they are. And then we could look at the end of the season and go, well, what impact has it had? Has it meant they've played more first-team rugby? Has it been a waste? I got the impression, and again, I watched all 4 teams in the thing, but those lads that were playing for Wales and Scotland, they were loving it. They weren't bothered.
Well, yeah, but the thing about it, Matt, the lads who were told you can't play, for Wales, and we know the 2 players from the club in St Helens, they wanted to play.
Yeah,
they wanted to play. You know, so why are they taking that opportunity away? And then to be told, well, if you do go play, then it might jeopardise your position to be playing first-team football week in and week out.
We've seen the guy who came over from New Zealand. I forget the Scottish kid.
James Bell, who's now signed for...
Is he at Fed?
Somewhere.
He's in the Championship. He's got a deal in the Championship, so it was worth him making the effort to
exactly.
play, wasn't it?
So the thing about it, though, Matt, they want to play in international games. So why are they being stopped?
I know what your answer is, but the next step down this debate is Lachlan Coote is now over playing for St Helens.
Blake Austin wants to play
No, Lachlan Coote has played for Scotland in a World Cup. Do you pick him?
But you've got to do.
He's
got to be available. He's available for selection.
And I think if you take him back to the Southern Hemisphere, he's got more reason than anybody to show him that he's still a player. So I would say that your British Lions can have in it anybody who's represented. If they happen to have come from Australia or New Zealand, like James Bell, then if they're in it on merit, they're in it. You would hate that. You wouldn't have Lachlan Coote putting on a Great Britain shirt.
I don't want to have Blake Austin putting on a Great Britain shirt. Not
he qualifies
Austin hasn't played for England. He does qualify, but Coote has played for Scotland.
Yeah.
Luke Douglas has played for Scotland in a World Cup. Would you allow him to? I think he has to be selected for British Lions.
Tulson Tollett could be the media manager for England International.
Tulson Tollett.
Mark Flanagan has one message for rugby league pessimists, says Matthew Shaw of the Rugby League Express. Cheer up. The Salford Red Devils forward believes the game needs talking up more moving forward, he says, reading. Flanagan, along with Toronto forward and friend John Wilkin, have their own podcast in which they try to talk up the game.
I think the word is had.
He believes that more should follow suit. We try to be positive about the game, he said. Oh, thanks, Matt. Wonderful. It has the obstacles, but we try and highlight the stuff the game should be proud of. There's a stigma that rugby league is a northern working class game, and while that is our roots, we should be positive.
So we decided to call our podcast Flat Caps and Whippets.
We need more positivity in the game. We've got to get behind our sport because it's great. We're miserable up north. I'm just reading the whole thing. Martin will be suing me. We're miserable up north, aren't we? We whinge about everything. There are opportunities for improvement. At times we aren't marketing well enough, and at times we aren't executing well enough. Sometimes we look to preserve money and have a glass half empty attitude rather than backing ourselves and being proactive.
If it's good, it's good. We'll say it's good. Exactly. If it's not good, it needs improving. The only way to improve things is analyse what isn't good enough and work out what is good. Can I ask
Mark Flanagan and John Wilkin how much money they've made from their podcast then? Because obviously, and if they'll be doing their podcast next season.
No, look, it's not good. Look, it's easy. Again, it's tokenism. All right, let's stick our fingers. Everything's great. Let's all pretend everything's great.
Exactly.
Right, and nothing will ever change.
Well, do you know what, Mark? Do you know what then? The publicity what the game's had over the last 6 weeks. If everything were positive, we wouldn't be talking because there ain't been anything positive, would we?
The first thing we spent 10 minutes at the beginning of this programme was congratulating the RFL. Doing a great deal. We've never shied away from giving credit where it's due. And to give credit where it's due, I was in Mark Flanagan's Coffee Emporium a week ago, and they make a very nice cup of coffee.
There you go.
My question to the players is...
But he also plays for a club who, at the moment, the chief executive is saying, well, we hope they get to the start.
Yeah.
How positive would you like me to be about that, Mark?
Yeah. Should we be great about that? No.
The players are the worst at moaning on Twitter about anything anyway. And my question to the players is, have you all joined the union? Have you all joined the union? Have you told your union leader what's wrong? And have you done anything about it? Because it's all right going on Twitter and moaning.
Yeah.
Well, what are they moaning about now?
Well, too many games, this, that and the other. Well, it's all right saying it on Twitter. You're talking to,
Don't have any faith in the way the game's run.
Yeah.
That was the opinion poll.
The anonymous poll.
Yeah.
So would Mark Flanagan presumably was the 1% that said everything's fine.
So,
I like Mark.
Have they joined the
No,
union?
it's not. It's just easy. That is not a story, is it?
But more than that, you can't just be positive. There's no one in the world. You were talking about the NFL last night, which to somebody like to somebody like me, who is a neutral and doesn't have a team, for both games to go to overtime, for both of them to end in controversy, for the result to be undecided until the very last play, to me, I don't see a negative. You, as experts, are going, the two calls were terrible, should never have... it's where you sit. And if we want to sell the sport to a newer audience, which every business needs to do, then we need to look after the sport. And it's nothing about talking it down or not. Controversy sells.
But why? Yeah, it does. And it's hit all the news, and it will do. But what action do you want? Not to avoid the controversy, but... Just take those mistakes out of it. You look and improve it, and you say that's not right. So we need to do this.
You've got two angles on the same end. One is you've got somebody like me who will now stay up for the Super Bowl and pick one of those two teams, which would be Los Angeles, obviously. And you two who can spend a whole day talking amongst aficionados about exactly what was wrong with those two guys.
Yeah, look, it's one
which is
things.
great. Which is great. That's that's the double appeal, isn't it?
You should be supporting the Patriots, anyway, because what are they, Mark?
They're like Leeds.
They're Leeds.
They always get to the
final.
And also as well, they've announced today that there's going to be four these NFL games down in London. They've announced that today, so tickets are out on sale now, and there'll be a sellout in the next 3 or 4 days.
But hey, lads, by the way, anyway, my tickets are bought for Headingley. I went on one of these dodgy websites.
The Ashes,
It's called a computer. I'll learn you one.
4 times the value.
So it's an investment.
What do I do?
Get the weather forecast.
There you go.
Cheapest ticket for the Super Bowl, I think they said on Sky today, was £2,800.
Yeah, but it's sold out.
Yeah.
Sold out.
Can you imagine that they won't have tickets But my question to the players is, have you all joined the union? Have you told the union leader what you want? Are you actually putting any pressure on the leaders to do something? Or are you just moaning on Twitter and not doing it? I've got a feeling that they're just moaning on Twitter and not doing it.
Did the players say, the amount of games we should be playing should be 22, 24?
One of the players didn't he? Who plays for...
Did they give a figure?
Plays for a team that agreed to join a competition, or two competitions, where he clearly is not getting paid extra for.
Yeah.
Alan they can withdraw their labour.
Alan says the problem is that the leaders of the game are driving it about as well as the Duke of Edinburgh. Come on, Alan.
That was Brexit.
Alan, come on.
We were mentioning League One.
That's a Simbi. That's 10 minutes. That's 10 minutes.
Alan, at least we've got a seatbelt on.
Is Duke of Edinburgh going to present the Challenger Cup this year?
Only if his Range Rover provide him a car.
Can you imagine Scully and Prince Philip having a conversation?
Be a bit one-sided.
Right.
That's why.
When Prince Philip met the legend. When Prince Philip met the legend.
We mentioned the contribution that Newcastle are making in League One. We mentioned the contribution that Coventry are making in League One. I'd like to add London Scholars this week.
Go on then.
Who played their traditional pre-season friendly against Wigan at the Honourable Artillery Ground, which is the only piece of land within the City of London, like where all the financial institutions are. But we talk about events. It was nothing about who played for Wigan and who won. It was about, if you bought a ticket, you got to listen to Ellery Hanley talk. You got Sean Edwards there. You got Adrian Lamb there. What a fantastic event.
Yes.
Now, as a sport, what are we doing getting the names and addresses of all the people that were there? Because there are some serious potential sponsors, some captains of industry, some administrators who will have come through, particularly the student game, which is how that fixture developed. That, again, is a lower level club showing clubs from the top 2 divisions exactly how to market themselves. Brilliant event, apparently. And Ellery was outstanding, as he would be. But even just to get in there. Well, you know Ellery. You know, if you were, I don't know, worked for the Bank of England in London and somebody sent you a ticket saying for 20 quid you can come and watch a game, a team playing called Wigan, who you probably have heard of, they are actually the champions, but you can sit on a table and listen to Ellery Hanley speak, you'd pay for that.
Well, the fact of the matter is, why isn't Ellery Hanley involved in the game? As an ambassador, you know, whatever, you know.
I think he's going to do a bit more. He went to see the Leeds players.
Yeah, I read about that. That's great. You know, but why is he not?
Because I think he's got to have a role. You know Ellery better than anybody. He's got to feel that there's a role for him rather than just can he just turn up and be Ellery. So I think the fact that they said to him, "There's a dinner and there's all these financiers here, and you might get to network with some important people." He'd probably, and we'll give you 400 quid to speak as well. I reckon that's why.
Well, it'd be a lot more than 300 quid.
But you know,
don't worry about
a few hundred.
Don't worry about that. It'd be a few more than 300 quid.
No, I didn't say 3. I said a few.
But Ellery, he should be part of the game.
Of course.
He should be part of the game. You know, when you look at the biggest name, when I see Mr. Lindsay's part there, when he goes on about the level of skills and what era does he go back to? He goes back to the 90s and this sort of thing. Well, you go back to the 90s, which obviously is my hero, and you look at the big names from there. You know, they should be used in the point of view where they are from an ambassador's point of view, or we should be used as development officers.
You're right. Or,
you know, it's
or
ridiculous
that
we're not being
Man of
used.
Steel. All of that kind of thing.
Well, that panel's coming out soon. The names will be coming out soon on that. But,
hopefully, Ellery might be on that.
You know, so.
Are they going to release the names of the people on the panel?
Well, there's no point having them if you don't. They all need to be legends.
Because obviously, because we didn't get to go speak to him.
He probably didn't say.
Michael, our resident London fan, well, welcome back, Michael. Said the Scholars did well against Wigan.
But it's not about the game, it's about the event.
It's not. You look at the corporate and you see it's full, and, you know, that's the club earning some money.
But it's not only full, it's who it's full with.
Yes.
People that will only go to maybe, you know, you say to the next big game that you've got here is Wembley. I know it's a bank holiday weekend, but can we stick you down for a ticket in the Olympic Gallery? Excuse me.
I got in trouble this week. On Twitter.
What, again?
Yeah. This time I upset West Wales Raiders by comparing them to Theresa May. I thought it was a fair comparison. In fairness, they didn't lose by as many points as she did last week. I upset.
Very good.
Yeah, I meant the one that got ripped in here. Oops, I meant the one that got ripped in.
Sorry, those on the podcast who just fell off their bike.
What's happened there?
I don't believe that squeaky chair.
What's happened there? Must be the
Clip
biscuits.
that bit out.
It's like biscuits. Yeah, but a bit arsehole of Theresa May.
You wouldn't get that on a question of sport with
What
Sim.
happened next? Upset the West Wales Raiders.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm looking forward to speaking to their coach.
I'm looking forward to speaking to any potential sponsor to explain that one.
Yes. Daniel's asked if we've got our press passes yet. No, we've been approved, but they haven't come through.
No,
I've not got mine yet.
On Thursday, I think.
I've not got mine. Have you applied for mine yet?
No. And after that,
Well, after that,
It'll be like last year where we all get them, all take pictures of them, and then told, don't put them pictures of them on the social media. Every single one.
What's happening on social media?
Alex says we should mention the host cities for the Rugby League World Cup are announced by live stream on Tuesday. It's on the BBC website.
I was at Middlesbrough.
It's a week
the
on
other day,
Tuesday.
and they actually had the
Week on Tuesday,
back
sorry.
the bid on the screen. I didn't know they'd applied.
You see, also, when we look at the World Cup there, from there, is Ellery part of the World Cup? Is it, you know, as we're going around and promoting it? I'll tell you what, you look at him, he looks as though he can still play, don't worry about that. But is Ellery part of this? You know, to get with the sponsors, you know, and speaking to people.
They've got business lunches, he would be perfect.
It should be used. There's no two ways about it.
And they've got a business development group, which again includes companies that don't normally sponsor Rugby League, which is a step forward.
It is. By the way, was it Genghis that tweeted me earlier?
It's probably always Genghis.
When he said, Captain Jibbers, sorry, said that I should
like
ask
Captain
people
Jibbers
to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah,
How do you
as well.
do that? How do you do
Go
that?
on YouTube and click
What? Click 4020 Live,
subscribe. If you go to our page,
which is
just go to YouTube, search for 4020,
yeah.
and it comes up. I'll do it myself now, and see what comes up.
Yeah.
You go to, it'll come up with our channel in the corner. In fact, on most of our videos now, at the end, there's a thing to click on because I did it if I can remember. There you go, 40. We've got 601 subscribers.
Right. Well, I want to get that up. So if you watch on YouTube, I've done it at home actually. You can watch it on your telly now, can't you? On YouTube, you can watch it on the telly.
Can you hear it on your telly?
Yeah.
So we've got a theme tune now as well on the videos as well. So that's
a theme tune?
Yeah. It's a
Who
free
sings
one.
it? Who sings it? Jim Davis. Oh, not Jim Davis.
It won't be Jim Davis.
Who was the other guy?
Dennis Waterman.
Dennis Waterman.
Yeah.
Dennis.
Let's say hello to all our listeners abroad. Romania, Barbados, Sweden, Thailand, Slovakia, Russia, Jersey.
This is like pointless.
Jersey.
I tell you what, I wouldn't mind doing a live show from Barbados.
Bahrain. Oh, I know that our listeners in Bahrain. I know that is. Malta, Portugal, Singapore. Others, I think, are countries where they're not allowed to listen. France, Bulgaria,
what about North Korean
Norway.
correspondent? Is he there?
I'm trying to work on something for that as well. Germany, Hong Kong, Switzerland.
I thought we were going on the road. Let's get out there.
We've got more listeners in Luxembourg than we have in Germany.
We could be the next, what is it, the Clarkson
Yeah.
on the road. The four of us go and
Get
visit
Amazon
all our
to,
listeners.
Get Amazon to pay for it.
You're going to be, what's he, James May? What's he called? He's the one who always nearly kills himself.
Richard
That's
Hammond.
Richard
He-
Hammond,
the,
yeah,
the,
that's
li-
you.
the
that's-
little kid.
That's you.
Yeah,
that's
that'll
Scully.
be me.
No, it's Scully. That's
Scully.
Yeah.
Well, he won't be James May, will he?
I don't know. I don't know who James May is.
He's the intellectual.
Oh, yeah, well, I said he was the one that killed himself.
By the way, have we worked out what vehicle we're going in when we go to Hull yet? We're all travelling together, aren't we? What vehicle we're
Well, I
going
think we need Prince Philip's
We're awaiting
father
confirmation. Apparently, the homicide police force have requested full details of our itinerary, and until we submit it, we're not allowed to enter the.
Because
we're not allowed
when
over the
asking me
border.
yesterday when we're coming over, I said I don't know. I don't know the
It
date.
was reported that overlooking the Sir Clive Sullivan Way on the A63, there was
I'm being serious.
There was
Have we got a date?
There was a sniper on the bridge.
I'm
the
being
radio.
serious.
And
Have we got a date yet when we're going over to
well,
Hull?
we had one, but we've had to change it slightly.
No,
so
because the same
we're
mate
not
of
going
mine
to
contacted
publicise.
me yesterday. Have we got a date yet?
No, we will do, yeah, because we have actually had people who want to come and watch the show. I mean, why they would want to do that, I've no idea. But yeah, we're going to get out and about. We're going to meet. We're going to
I think we should do.
press the
Get
flesh
out there,
and all that.
Let's get ripped in and let them get ripped in.
And hopefully get a few free beers. But we'll see. Anyway, we'll see about that.
Does that mean we're staying over then when we go on the road?
Only if you've got a tent. I mean, this show's no budget. You know, we can't even afford decent clothes. So how are we going to pay for hotels?
Tent in the middle of the KCOM stadium.
Yeah.
Perfect.
There'll be some hostels about somewhere, won't there?
Andy says we should take the show to a curry house. So, can you imagine how big of a disaster that'll be?
What's that, Rich?
I mean, what's just happened on this show? No, that's not happening. Have you still got that 25% pass that they think, or is it?
At Agra?
Yeah.
15%.
15. Well, let's see if we can negotiate a deal.
Yeah.
Sheila, no. Toby says, are you guys sneaking past security to get into the Super League launch on Thursday? People like us.
Some.
Yeah. No, that's rubbish. You're talking rubbish there.
Well,
You're
nobody
talking
likes
rubbish.
us.
Chris Chester.
I don't think anyone's allowed to acknowledge we exist in public. You know, it's like it's like the Masons now.
Right.
You get invites if you've got a certain handshake. You get invites to go meet the top people, and if you haven't, then you get meetings to come and meet us.
We could go around wearing big 4020 t-shirts or something.
Yeah.
Getting away with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andy says go to a curry house in Warrington. Stephen says fish and chips. Danny says come to Warrington, take it to the King's Head. Everyone wants us to go out and about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're open to offers.
Yeah.
We're open to offers.
We
And
talk
we're
about,
cheap.
Well, we're cheap.
Yeah.
That's definitely
very
cheap.
You haven't seen what people know what this programme's broadcast on, don't they? A laptop we've nicked and my old phone that doesn't work. And a broken
it.
tripod I bought from a car boot sale.
It's all about opinions.
It is.
I thought that tripod wasn't broken until you actually got it.
Until,
and you
yeah,
broke it.
well, it was. I broke it.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Let's get it right.
Come
Come
to
on.
York tomorrow with us. Although at least one club thinks it looks fancy, so
Really?
I think tells you about the budget for Billy Club Beach
Highfield.
Apartments.
It's like something you found.
What looks fancy us for?
Oh, well. Toby says, if we're at the League One Championship launch tomorrow, can you ask about the New York City bid? If we get the
Yes, we will ask about that. They've still not heard anything.
Where's the League One launch?
I think they have.
York. Have they?
I think they've heard something, but it's not definitive
Yeah,
enough
that's
as
what
a
they
yes
got
or
an
a
answer,
no.
have they? That's what
Keithley
we
going?
I don't know.
Very good question.
I don't know.
Empty table.
Yeah.
Just the badge, just the cougar.
It'll be you and Craig Lingard sat on the floor on an old rug with your cap on the floor. I mean, I'm joking. I can only say that because you're here, and I don't mean anything ill about that. But yeah, it's That might be a bit of a begging ball out, getting some cash in to pay the lads.
Captain Jibbers is back on. We talk about marketing. How did a baseball game that's going to be played in June sell out already? London's stadium capacity 66,000 already sold out. More popular than Kabaddi, he says. Oh, a bit harsh. Kabaddi. Because it's the first game that's been played here ever.
Did you watch the basketball? Didn't the
I've no interest
NBA bring a game here and sell out wherever it is they were playing?
Yeah.
Scarcity, I think.
Yeah, it is. It's like the old Ashes tickets. When are you going to... And this is why, if we announced an England Aussie tour, you would sell it out. If you actually marketed it now, you would sell it out before they even got on.
Even if it was 2020.
There's people contacting me and asking me, Scoy, when's the dates, where's the venues for this, because we want to go on the tour. But you can't tell them. You can't say no. You can't make it. You couldn't make it up, could you?
More importantly, the 3 dates for when England play Australia over here in 2020. Get them out now.
That's what I'm on about.
Never mind the tour.
You sell it out. It'd sell out.
Yeah, it'd sell out. I agree.
Yeah. And I think it's one of them. If you aim big enough and get the big enough crowds, it's all right.
You'd go to Newcastle for one of them for sure.
Yeah.
Newcastle's got to be. I said before. Well, I said it to Nigel Wood. When we first went to Newcastle, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago? And I said to Nigel, bring an international game here. Absolutely pack out. Friday night or a Saturday night. People stay over, book over, it'll sell out. Easily.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Absolutely agree with that.
International Rugby League up there, absolute love it.
And you've got to look at it. Even if it's 20 quid a ticket, 50,000 ticket, that's £1 million. That's £1 million.
It's a no-brainer.
That's £1 million.
It's an absolute no-brainer.
You get £3 million quid for the RFL of that skimp. They should be doing this.
And the big venue in London, which you would say, if you can get Arsenal.
Well, I think Spurs would be the one to go to, wouldn't it? The new ground. They seem ready for the NFL, etc. So you would imagine they'd be willing, and I think there'd be some willingness there if it helps them pay for their stadium.
And then we get excited because it's a venue we've not been to.
And that's where it possibly is a case where you have tickets that are cheaper because you're appealing to a new audience, perhaps. Because I'm sure when Newcastle, as you mentioned, are playing rugby union against Sale at St James's Park, it's not going to be expensive, is it? They're not going to sell tickets at 40 quid a time because they want to get a whole new audience in there.
Yeah.
Likewise, when Saracens play whoever at West Ham. I know we're talking about the national team rather than the club size, but
it's all about getting bums on seats.
Absolutely.
Pound notes in the till.
Paying full value because they want talk of why does the NBA sell out or whatever, because
at the end of the day
you're not offering cheap tickets. If you want to go, you've got to get in there at the beginning and buy your ticket.
At the end of the day, the national side sells a product.
It's doing that
Simple
in
as that.
netball.
Sells a product.
It's doing it.
Does.
Nicholas says the NHL, that's the ice hockey in Canada, USA, and the Players Union want to expand to Europe. They said it's just a matter of time. Also, practical, they'll play in blocks. So there you go. Put a team in Hull. That'll really please Sid. The Hull, whatever they want to be called.
That's how you'll do it, like they do in the Super 15 or whatever it was, the rugby union one, where they have to go. They'll go. If they have 3 teams in the Americas, you'll say, right, you're playing them one week, them the other week, them. You're going 1 flight in, 1 flight out. You're away for 2 weeks. You'll play 3 games, and that's your travelling done. No morning. You don't have the jet lag going back 3 times. You're just going once, and that's your lot. And they'll do the same coming back. They'll come and play 3 at a time and then go back. It can be done. It can be. The travel is not. They said that on the thing last night about the NFL. The players don't mind coming to England. They get well looked after. Yeah. There's no problem. They quite enjoy coming here, and the travelling is not an issue.
It can be done.
It can be done. It can be done.
What a phrase. Daniel's asked who we think will be Warrington centres. Atkins, King, Goodwin or Mamo. Who will it be? What do you guys think?
Goodwin.
Mamo.
And Mamo. For me.
I think Goodwin and Atkins, to be honest. I think he's got that hunger back as Ryan. The hunger, I think he's the purpose as well. So I think it'll be Atkins and Goodwin for me.
Okay.
So yeah, I told you last week what I reckon Marmo should play. He'll come off the bench, take him at us forward.
Yeah.
Support player, the speed, what he's got.
We got a lot of response to that. Yeah. Some saying we should sack you. Some say we should section you. There's a cross between the two.
I think Mamo gives them something extra, and they're getting shot.
Sort of like you've seen Wakefield finish 4th.
Finished 5th the last 2 years. What's your point? Have they got? All right, they finished 5th the last 2 years. Have they got a better team? Yes or no? than they had last year? Have they got a better team, yes or no?
They've only got...
Have they got a better... It's a simple question. Have they got a better team, yes or no?
Time will tell.
Might be on question time.
Who are you? He's Robert Elston.
Glenn says, why don't we come to
Do
Toronto?
me a favour.
Can't afford to go to Toronto.
Can't afford.
No.
Can't
Not with
afford.
Brexit now.
We could go to Hull when Toronto play then.
Yeah, we could do.
Dave says it can be done. Positive hashtag positive RL. We should let the people into the in joke here. When we used to work somewhere else, you remember Radio Yorkshire? Used to be a thing. On the wall, walking up the stairs, was a picture of our Lord and Master Sir Kenneth Bates. Underneath, it can be done.
Yeah.
That's what it said. They took that away after a while, but
Yeah.
probably won't count. William says, have we heard anything about Widnes?
What about the
Anthony Galley?
takeover? What
Well,
has that?
well, there's been an interesting comment from the guy who was looking at made the takeover, and he's called the place a shambles, hasn't he?
I think he also took some criticism on social media for
don't-
wanting to buy the club.
Don't go on social media, people. Just talk to me.
Which I don't
As
fully
Richard found out last week, it's quite easy to get criticised on
I was just
social
trying to be
media.
funny.
Or maybe that's where you
Well,
found it.
yeah. Rugby league and humour doesn't mix up.
Irony doesn't work on
No.
social media.
Would social media really put you off buying a rugby league club if you wanted to buy a rugby league club?
I think if the figures worked out, that would probably be more to the point.
Yeah, the guy from the Backhouse group, the gentleman there just said, to clear things up, the deal has not gone ahead because it was something I can't see working and beyond repair, not because of some idiotic fools who, in sick opinion, mean what, I won't really say what it says from there. And he's just quite clearly saying the place is an absolute shambles, and he's just being honest, realistic, the state what witness on him. And he's got took plenty of stick for it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I wouldn't want to own a rugby league club. I just think it could be quite stressful for not a lot of reward, really.
I think if they run properly, as Mr. Herridge has proved at Leeds when he took over. Leeds were a shambles in 1996 when he took over, £5 million in the rubbish.
And that's one positive story.
Smartness, 10
And
year,
I'll
10
tell
year
you what,
programme.
the way he looked ill when they got thumped at Cass last year. He looked ill. It looked like it was affecting his life. So it must be a tough job, even when you got.
Oh, we're not saying it's not a tough job.
By the way, Wigan comments in the paper from Sean Edwards saying, "Well, if Adrian Lamb wins the job, where does that leave me? I'm not going to come in and rock the boat. What did we make of that?"
Interesting. I wonder if Sean has asked for some help behind the scenes that hasn't been as forthcoming as perhaps he wanted it to be. Because he's going to want to sign some players when he gets there, unquestionably. He needs to know that, like Warrington have said, we've signed Gareth Widdop for 2020, that Wigan have got the same sort of ambition.
You know, Adrian Lamb, he's only at Wigan for 12 months. Has he got a job going back to the NRL?
Not yet. Cronulla.
So is Lamb not going to be part of Sean Edwards' coaching
Well,
staff?
this is the thing. I just thought it just seemed a bit of a he didn't need to say it type interview. Why has he said that?
Well, if he wins the treble, how can they sack him?
Is it possible to retire from rugby league coaching before you've taken a job to take on another job in another sphere?
As we know, in
which
sport, a year is a long time. He might get offered a wow of a job in rugby
There's
union.
a massive job coming up at Twickenham that everyone knows about.
And I think when you in the England setup with the rugby union, certainly for the players who have been under Edwards, i.e. with the Delalios or Will Greenwood and whatever, they say that they respect what Sean has got from a defensive point of view, and they have always said we can't understand why England have never employed Sean Edwards. It's an interesting one.
Wrong accent. He needs to change his accent like Andy Farrell did.
Yeah.
Apart from when he comes back to the rugby league and he sounds more Wigan. Apart from that.
What? Go on then. More social media because we're running out of time. To be fair, we've flown by again tonight.
Nicholas has done a joke.
Go on.
The RFL needs to do something to make sure Widnes continue to exist. Put them in the Widnes Protection Programme.
Hey.
Very good.
Hey.
Toby's amused by people who still don't understand the Yorkshire Cup naming debate. It was funny to see people trolling the Bradford Bulls on Twitter yesterday. I did enjoy that. That was good.
You're just a bitter man, aren't you?
Because it's not the
What are
Yorkshire
you being
Cup.
like that for?
Now they've won their 12th Yorkshire Cup.
No, they've won the first one.
Wikipedia.
They've won the first
12th.
one. They've won the first
well,
one.
I know that, but apparently they won
Are you
their
back a Bradford Bulls fan now they've won a trophy?
No. You know what? I'd say now, They'll make the top 5 this year. I'm absolutely adamant about that. They will make the 5 this year. I'm going to say it now, right? They could go up this year. The Bulls.
Have you been on the wine? Same as him?
Look, if they're in the 5, they could go up.
Well, I'll tell you what.
We saw Toronto bottle it last year.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll have another curry. I'll have another curry with you, right?
There's no point because you haven't paid for your other one.
I'll tell you. I'll have another.
You haven't paid for your other one.
I'll have another curry with you, right?
Well, when you pay for the other one,
right? Okay.
Oh, go on. I'm interested in this.
York will finish higher than what Bradford will in the championship. York will finish higher than what Bradford will in the championship.
Yeah. You know, when are you in court again with Keithley? Because I'll just come with you and ask them to just send me the money. Is that all right? Yeah. You're going to owe me it all anyway. What?
Trish has asked, why does Scully take off his glasses to read?
Because I can't see. I can't read with them on.
Yeah, not reading glasses.
It's the important.
What's this, Vision Express?
Perhaps you should be sponsored by Specsavers. Specsavers.
I think looking at us for.
Oh no, we've
got any worry about
that. Saving there.
Yeah, they're not exactly flowing forward.
I'm sure you've not been on the wine, you Phil. You've not been on the wine.
Need to get some sleep.
Well, you know, how many days away from the new season are we? 10 days away now.
10 days.
The big fixture, St Helens Wigan, eh?
Who's going to win that one?
I'm going St Helens by 10.
I think Saints will win it, but a great season opener.
The first 3 games on Sky, so I'm going St Helens by 10. I'm going Hulkinson Rovers by 7, and I'm going Warrington by 22.
We need to get Scottish predictions for the media tipping competition because obviously he doesn't do email.
He's got Gmail now.
Yeah,
got Gmail.
Yeah.
What we're going to do next year is show him how to work it.
We should become the official media partners of the tipping competition and produce the league table on a video every week just to shame our colleagues. But I don't know if
based on last year, they'd be shaming me.
Well.
Anyway,
Nicholas, any view on the new Toronto kit? Yeah, it's Hull's.
Yeah, you've stolen Hull's kit.
Yeah.
Just set them a badge off. That's all they've done. It's exactly the same kit.
Had a few in stock.
Toronto, is it?
Yeah.
They're away kit.
Yeah.
It's like the grey and black.
Just stick another badge on it, lads. That'll do.
He's supposed to buy Canadian Affair, which isn't what he sounds like.
Is it a dating website? Do we need to join?
Well, based on what you just said, yeah, probably we do. Yeah.
That and sex saves.
Yeah.
Hold on, Motley's here. Motley's arrived. Where is it?
No, Motley and Reynolds.
Can I have some of that wine, Wade?
After the way you performed tonight, you don't need anything.
Why are you on TV? That's why.
Yeah.
Why do people like us? I'm not.
Why are we not on the Super?
Subscribe to the old YouTube if you would, and the podcast. Record for really proud of that.
So the first 3 games, then who are you going for? Wilson, Saints and Wigan. Who are you going for?
Yeah, I've got to go for St Helens. I'm going for Warrington to beat Leeds. I think it's a bit early. I think Leeds are a work in progress. They'll get better. I think Leeds will win the cup this year. And I think they'll get in the top 5 as well. But I think they'll be building as they go along. New coach, big turnaround.
Yep.
What about the big derby then? What about the big derby?
Last year?
Yeah. Big derby. I've tipped Hull out to finish above Hull, but I just think early on, if Hull don't have any injuries, I think they might do all right. I think they'll bite when they get injuries. Hull. I think that's when
doubt over Albert Kelly.
Yeah, possibly. I've got to go Hull out. I've tipped Hull out to finish above Hull, so I'll go for Hull out.
I'll tell you what was an interesting issue in the game. We talk about Jake Connor, don't we, about his discipline, and so I think he got sin-binned in friendly yesterday. After 20 minutes, St Helens scored a try, and it was a bit dubious by all accounts. Anyway, Connor has just ripped in at referee and he got sin-binned in a friendly. So
they never learned, do they, these players? They never learn. 4020 on Facebook, I think I know who this is, says presenters of this show needs to be drug tested.
Who's ripping us off on our own show?
I think I know who that is, and I think she's just come back from holiday. Stephen says Scotia should be on tipping point. Daniel says get Gary on the chase. Celebrity chase with Gary Schofield.
Yeah, who's chasing him? A pack of lions.
What would be your specialist subject on Celebrity Mastermind?
My specialist subject would be Leeds Rugby League Club.
Would it?
That would be my specialist subject.
Now we have to actually put this together, don't we? We have to write some questions.
Or it would be only Fools and Horses. I love only Fools and Horses. I watch even now when I watch Comedy Channel 1110, and I watched them for the first hour.
1110. So you've got 1,110.
Yeah, 110 got, and then an hour after, then I put 210 on because it's the same show again. I watch it all the time. Sensational.
Isn't 1110 one of those channels that you have to subscribe to?
Do you know that?
I don't know because the top end numbers, aren't they?
I know what channel you want on Sky for, where you're going on, isn't it?
Yeah.
They should be on Bullseye to have a go at Bradford. No, I don't need to have a be on Bullseye to have a go at Bradford.
Let's all do his Uncle Albert impressions. Come on then. During the war. Come on.
It's 8 o'clock, we're going. Download the
Good
podcast.
time to go.
Thank you for everyone that's joined in tonight.
Daniel says, Gary, specialist subject, how not to pay for a curry.
Hey! That'll do, we've gone.
Don't be taking notice of Mark Wilson. Don't be taking notice of Mark Wilson.
Thanks everyone that's joined in. Please subscribe on YouTube, subscribe to the podcast. Thanks everyone that's joined us this week. We'll be back next week.
Was that the shot clock?
That was a shot clock, yeah. So it's a penalty against Scoy for non-payment of curry. So we'll be back next week. We'll see you then.